ahead of them. Just how do you kind of see this offseason playing out?
Yeah, I can sit here and speculate all I want. I don't know what that Brian Cashman's going to do. I mean, there's going to be, Bellinger opted out. I hope he comes back. He likes it here. I hope they get a deal done with him. I don't expect Goldie to be back. I loved having him here. Trent Grisham, great year. Not a strong finish, but a great year. So, we'll see. They get Garrett Cole back next year at some point, maybe May, June. So they add him to Fried, Schlittler, Rodon, either Warren or Heel or somebody that they may move. Who knows? They have to be a lot more sound consistently when it comes to defensive fundamentals, particularly in the infield. Volpe either has to really have an explosive offensive year, or they may look at somebody else. Volpe shit, a free agent. So those are some of the things that they're looking at. I mean, the problem was playing against Toronto, super fundamentally sound. They put the ball in play consistently. They run like heck. I mean, I love the home runs, and that's a big part of who they are. And that hopefully they continue to lead Major League Baseball by 30, 40 home runs. But you got to add another dimension to that ball club, and go from there, because it's still a really good ball club. You got to remember they finished tied with Toronto for the third best record in baseball, behind who was that? Behind Milwaukee and the Phillies. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think specifically that point you made about the Toronto Blue Jays is very interesting. A lot of the insecurities I think this Yankee team had down the stretch of the season, that was where Toronto seemed to excel. I want to talk to you, with this being, you're now being a part of this organization, there tends to be a certain perception or image of the Yankees throughout the league from people that aren't necessarily in the organization. Now being a part of that organization, how has your perception or image of the Yankees maybe changed now being a part of the Yankees?
I don't know where you're going with that question. I work for FAN. I call the Yankees. I'm not part of it. Essentially, I am a part of the Yankee organization. It's been successful. I haven't been able to get over the hump. They haven't won a World Series since '09. And let's see what happens. As a radio play-by-play guy, I'm not going to give you – I don't have general manager answers for the most part. And I don't claim to. I just, I got opinions. But, my opinion of the organization, I'm still getting to know everybody. I'm not in the inner workings. They don't ask me to be in the inner workings, and I don't want to be in the inner workings, to be honest with you. So that's all I have for you on that. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for, but that's that.
No, yeah, I was just more from more the perspective of, obviously, Mr. Sterling created a niche for himself and really became a famous figure in this area, not even on the field or from an organizational perspective, just the Yankees as an image or a figure in the baseball world. I would assume it's different to be a part of it as it is when it's far away.
Well, it's still, the New York Yankees. It's New York. It's the great legacy. It's the history, the players, the glamour, the attention. I mean, I understand all that, and I certainly am into it. And that's in terms of my opinion of it from looking outside. I mean, I had pretty much the same opinion, from outside. I mean, it seems like, like most of the industry is analytics driven right now, and there's the good and the bad and ugly of all of it. I mean, I'm decidedly considerably older than you guys, and probably a more old school look for and approach and feel for the game. And I do like a lot of the analytics, but I'm not one of these guys. If you got to see how the game is played, the game, as Ron Washington always tells me, the scoreboard will tell you how to play the game.
Dave, kind of in the same vein, but a little bit different question here. This is your first postseason, or this was, sorry, the first postseason with the Yankees for you, and the first person other than John Sterling to call one of these games. What was the experience like overall, and just how did you go into this postseason?
Well, I do my same daily preparation. Nothing changes. It's just the postseason, and the excitement is heightened, and you got a chance to go deep. And I I won't say I'm not in mourning, but it's disappointment not having been able to get back the other night and tie the series up. And I would have loved to have played in Toronto last night, but hey, it's baseball. I've been doing this that's my 19th consecutive year. I've done something like 23 years overall. It's you got to. You can't get caught up in the excitement. You do get caught up in excitement, but you don't let it overwhelm you. You don't let it freak you out. I mean, it was only my second time in the playoffs, but I've done playoffs in basketball and football and everything. So I've got a lot of experience under me, and you prepare, you do your normal routine, and then you call the game.
Dave, when you started your career, you did a lot of talk show, call-in talk show. Just how did that kind of experience translate to how you call the games for the Yankees now?
Well, I started out as a newspaper guy, interned in Philly for 3 summers, and then was here at the Daily News for 8 years. I broadcast, I did anchoring, and play-by-play. How does talk radio help? Well, in terms of interviewing, you learn how to, listen to, follow up, and even go back before that, prepare for an interview. And the play-by-play is something I always wanted to do. I knew since I was probably, 10 years old, I wanted to do this. And there's not really a direct correlation or a connection other than you get confident in yourself, your abilities to perform in front of people, whether it be TV or radio. And it's a big help. Your language skills get honed when you're doing talk radio. At least they better get honed. And you just keep pushing forward, man. It's you lay out a plan and try to stick to it, or if a plan will present itself to you, and if it's a good plan and it's a good direction, you ride with it.
And Dave, you have so much experience doing whether it's college, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, but baseball seems to be the one you've obviously created a lot of your legacy with. What is it about baseball on the radio that's so special?
Well, baseball, and back in the days, and I remember when I was starting out, I always said that the great conversation sports are baseball, boxing, and horse racing. There's so many great stories. There's great stories out everywhere, but generally the people in those 3 sports they have a certain little it factor. And baseball romanticizes itself, and rightfully so, for its history and its development over the years. And there's just so much to talk about and contrast and compare, and the drama. It's a hard sport. It's a brutally hard sport. Maybe not physically like football is, where your career expectancy is kind of short. It's significantly shorter than baseball. But it's just such a difficult sport, especially now with everybody throwing 95 to 103. So, I love all of them. People always say, "What's your favorite sport?" Well, I love all of them. I start doing some college hoops sometime next month. I love that stuff. It's just that I've had a most consistent yearly run with baseball more than I have. It's not that big difference. But baseball's such an everyday sport. And doing that for 19 years, it's different from once a week of football, twice a week, 3 times a week in basketball. Yeah. It's a great sport. They're all great sports. Yeah. I can't sit there and say, "Well, I like this one more." No, to have this kind of career and doing what I'm doing is just. If I go back and somebody asked me, if you go back and ask 8-year-old Davy Sims, you'd be doing something like this. I said, I had to call the cops on you. What do you? Guard security? What are you talking about? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and a part of that legacy you just mentioned is Seattle. You obviously have created a legacy there, and the community has really responded to you, and you and the community have really kind of come together in Seattle. Have you been able to watch? Obviously, last night that game that was pretty wild yesterday, but just in general, the Mariners. I'm sure you have strong feelings there. Are you watching, or do you find yourself watching less?
Are you kidding? I'm watching. Of course I was watching. 8:08 started, ended it at 1:08 Eastern time. I don't even know if I moved. It's, I know JP, Cal, the coaching staff. I mean, they're all good dudes, and this is an opportunity to come home, work for the New York Yankees. Come on. But I love those guys, and I'm happy for I don't root for them necessarily damn sure don't root for them when we're playing them. But I was hoping, and a lot of people, I can't tell you how many people, friends of mine, and just on social media, we want a sim series. We want the Yankees and the Mariners for the ALCS. Cracks me up. And then you get people on social media, and sometimes I get heck for responding to some people that he's a traitor. Traitor? I got to come home, be with the family. 3,500 miles away. Come on. I had a good run out there. Loved it. Wish we'd won more games, and take my chances with the Yankees at this stage of my career. But I'm happy for those guys. And I just wrote one of my broadcast colleagues. I said, "When does the plane leave?" That's about an hour ago. He said, "Oh, the plane leaves in 2 hours. So there's going to be a bunch of hungover dudes on that plane tonight or this afternoon."
Definitely. The Mariners Yankees, especially this year in your career, would have been the height of irony.
That would have been totally sick. I mean, and then I'm from Philly, born and raised, and still have a soft spot for the Phillies. And I had one of my guys write me this morning. He says, "You got any FOMO, fear of missing out with the Mariners?" I said, "No, I'm happy for them, and I'm gonna be watching every minute of every game."
Well, Dave, I'm curious. As an announcer, you obviously have had so many great calls throughout your career. How do you come up with some of your catchphrases? You definitely have a bunch of good ones. So is there a process behind that? Do they come naturally?
That's a great question. A lot of most of it, I would say, is organic. My favorite is when Nelson Cruz came over as a free agent. He'd been with Texas, and he used to wear us out. And his nickname in Texas was the Boomstick, and they had this big hot dog shaped vehicle that they would somebody sponsored. They run around. So anyway, and it was the Boomstick mobile or something. So when Nelly came to Seattle and they hit a couple of home runs, I said, "Wait a minute, his nickname is what?" So, and I took from now I'm blanking on the guy's name. The guy he did Indiana Pacers basketball on the radio, the color commentary as a kid. And it was during the Reggie Miller days. And Reggie would hit a three, and Mark Boyle said, "Reggie," the play-by-play guy would say, "Reggie for three." Bob Leonard was the guy's name. And Reggie would hit a three, and Bob would go, "Boom, baby." So I just went, "Boomstick, baby." And I tried it out with my sons. Then I went to Nelly. He loved it. And I did that for the 4 years he was with us. Hey Now came from not so much Howard Stern as opposed to a Frank Sinatra song that he recorded. He didn't write it, but he recorded it. Got the world on a string. And the last bang out phrase is the orchestra rises and it's "Hey Now, I'm in love." So I said, "Wait a minute, look." So I knew Howard did that. I knew it was on the Gary Shandling show, and I just thought it was a quick, punchy, memorable exclamation point as opposed to cussing and losing my career. So, and that's where that came from. And the other one, "Giddy Up," I use that because as a child of the 50s and 60s, there was nothing but Westerns on. I watched a lot of Westerns. You'd see cowboys and sheriffs and posses going giddy up. So that's where those three things came from. But yeah, a lot of you can sit there and slave over it and try to make something happen, but it has to fit the person. It has to fit the moment. And John had his deal, but I certainly, by no stretch of the imagination, was I looking to copy him. I had my own deal. He had his. So that's the story there.
That is all we have for you. Thank you so much for calling in and answering our questions.
Yeah, you bet, guys. Have a good day. All right. Thanks a lot.
You too. Guys, we'll go and talk briefly about the Yankees and kind of what just happened in their series. And I know, Chris, you have probably a lot on your chest that you want to get out. But lost 3-1 in the ALDS to the Blue Jays. We'll start with Jazz's error in Game 4, and I'll just throw it to you. How upset were you at Jazz and just his kind of the picture of him yawning, and then that comes out, and then he goes and makes that costly error. The floor is yours.
No, I think Dave hit on it well, talking about the consistency of the defense, specifically in the infield. I think a lot of that attention is in the middle of the infield with Volpe and Jazz. Jazz should have cost them Game 3 as well. A terrible relay play was the climax of a Blue Jay rally in Game 3. Eventually, the Yankees come back, but that should have cost them, for all intents and purposes, that game as well. And then the day after, of course, Jazz misplays a ground ball, ends up being the difference in the decider. It was fundamentals last year, the Game 5, fifth inning of the World Series. It was the drop judge ball in center field and the misplayed ground ball to first base. Those two plays were the difference in that series. This year, it's the same thing. This is a conversation I was having with my father a couple of days ago. I just don't get how they're not practicing ground balls today. You know what I mean? Like, how are they not in Tampa fielding fly balls right now? You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a simple. When the problem is so simple, makes it all the more frustrating. Because when a problem is that simple, it makes you feel like you're going crazy. And this is a point I wanted to make as well, because I know we don't have a ton of time. The worst feeling in sports as a fan, in my opinion, in any sport and any team, is feeling that you care or you are more upset about the team than they are. That is the worst feeling. I've had that feeling with the Nets in the past. I have that feeling now with the Yankees, where I feel like I am more upset and more frustrated, and I genuinely just care more than they do. And that is such a debilitating, brutal feeling to have. And I feel, whether it is fundamentals or whether it is the stagnation from a managerial perspective and not wanting to make a change from Boone, it just feels not as if they don't care, but that I care more. And that is incredibly frustrating. And the big problem for me, you can get intricate, like defensive fundamentals or consistent hitting. Both are major problems. It's a culture issue with the Yankees. It's a major culture issue right now. There's just a problem in that locker room. The identity of this team, the identity we briefly touched on with Dave, this team doesn't have it. And if they do, it's not strong. I don't know if that's leadership coming from their captain. I don't know if that's leadership from their manager. I don't know what it is, but there's a major problem. I don't know if Judge is that leader that Jeter was. It's unfair to make the comparison, but I don't think he is. And in the same light, I don't think Boone is the leader that Joe Torre was, or even Joe Girardi was, from a certain extent. So I think those two, along with maybe problems at the top, maybe objective problems, maybe Hal's objectives shouldn't be what they are, or maybe Hal has false objectives of what the fans want. All of that comes together to make just the disaster that is the New York Yankees right now. And from the outside, it doesn't seem like a disaster. It comes off, and I'm a Net fan who has to deal with the Knicks, so I understand the lack of self-awareness that comes from complaining about a team that goes in the playoffs every year and a team that's competing every year. I understand how unself-aware that can come off, but it can be more heartbreaking. Even as a Net fan, as a fan who is in that quote-unquote little brother role in this city, and even the team who's not excelling right now.
You don't have to quote-unquote that.
Yeah, for my identity as a person, I had to quote-unquote that.
Okay.
It just feels that even from that perspective, when I look at the Knicks, it is brutal to go to the playoffs every year, think you have a chance, and have it ripped away from you without any fight. And if there is fight, that fight ends up just making you more upset in the end, as they had in Game 3. All of that is why I'm so upset about the Yankees. There is problems. There's little problems. Jazz, this team's going to win a World Series, Jazz probably won't be there. If this team's going to win a World Series, Volpe probably won't be there. If this team's going to win a World Series, Cole probably has to be healthy. So many things that hinder on this team's success. I just don't know where they go from here. The offseason is a blank slate. What they do with that blank slate, it determines the next half decade for the Yankees.
I was gonna transition. You did it for me, Chris, to the offseason.
I'm that good.
You are. You read my mind.
He was about to say it, and then he stopped.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Kyle Tucker, free agent. Probably the number one guy that the Yankees want.
Bobby mentioned before the show, Bo Bichette as well.
Bo Bichette, also another option. Bellinger just opted out. Goldie probably not gonna be back. Grisham, like a lot of question marks, I guess, in terms of what the Yankees decided to do. You also have Lombard and Spencer Jones that are waiting to be called up and take over Volpe's spot, or and then you also have a crowded outfield. Like, this Yankees offseason is going to be so crucial, just who they go and sign, who they call up, getting healthy. How do you guys kind of see this offseason playing out?
Yeah, I'll start. I felt when I watched the Red Sox this year, especially in the wild card, I mean, they had a lot of juice in the regular season, but especially watching them in the wild card, they really reminded me of the 17 Yankee team. That 2017 Yankee team had a few veterans and a few guys who can really play and were really the best of the best, but everything else was young guys that were all coming together, seemed like they really like each other. That's a lot of the vibes I had from the Red Sox. The Yankees, weirdly, are in a similar position, not as drastic. They're not as, as early in a rebuild as maybe the Red Sox are. They're more further along, but there needs to be a coexisting between the generations. There seems to be a new Yankee generation trying to come up right now. This post-Judge generation seems to try to make their claim right now, and they have to coexist with this Judge generation as well. They're still, for all intents and purposes, still there. Stanton's still there. Judge is still there. A whole cast of characters behind them. It's about those two generations of Yankees coexisting. If those two generations of Yankees can come together and create a unit that is one, a team that likes each other, a team that is accountable for each other more than liking each other, because I do think this Yankee team this year did like each other. The camaraderie was there, but they weren't accountable for each other in the way they should be. If you have those two things, that likability and that accountability, it's really hard not to have success with a roster this talented, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. Going into the offseason, like you talked about Aaron Judge, you need to build your team around him. It goes back to that same conversation I feel like that the Yankees conversation also does. Your team should have a World Series right now with Aaron Judge on your team, and it's not happening. So who are going to be the other guys around him that's going to make that happen?
Yeah, and Schlittler wasn't a defined starter coming into this year.
And he balled out in the playoffs. Absolutely balled out.
Rice wasn't this, could play first base every day guy that he is now. There was improvements made and steps taken this season, but rightfully so, and I will say it again because I really mean it, rightfully so, there's reason for disappointment in how it ended. Two things can be true. In the same way Devin talks about how great the season was, it can also make you want to throw up. I think they're not mutually exclusive.
No, high points and low points, this being the lowest
and
now.
And to finish off, Brendan, the Yankees' expectations are going to continue to slip over time. As long as they're not winning, the expectation is going to continue to slip, and that is what's going to take away. That's what's going to take away the consistent success from this organization as well. Because I think everyone's problem is, they can't win consistently, they don't have success consistently. It's like, yeah, it's because when you hold yourself to a certain amount of accountability, that's where that success comes from. If you continue to let it slip and you get mad at fans for them losing in the World Series last year, which is the most normal thing of all time, not naming names, then I feel like you're just losing the plot.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I love hearing you rant, Chris.
I just don't like when the organization is mad at fans for not winning the World Series and disappointed in not winning the World Series after they sell them for 9 months on winning the World Series. It is so backwards and bananas, and it drives me crazy.
You fans got to do better, man.
I guess.
That's going to be all from us here talking Yankees. We're going to be right back, and it's going to be time for Big Blue. Stay tuned for that after this break.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Carrino.
And I'm Joe Henry.
Tune in weekly for NFL Friday, your exclusive WFUV sports podcast for all things National Football League.
We'll be covering everything on and off the gridiron for the biggest sports league in the world. Every week on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcast.
Can the Eagles repeat?
Will the Jets or Giants finally take a leap?
What's Shadur up to?
All of that and more on NFL Friday on WFUV Sports.
And welcome back into One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Brendan Shorey here, joined by Chris Carrino and Gabby Price. If you guys want to call in, please do. The number is 718-817-2750. I repeat, 718-817-2750.
We would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. I was about to say the exact same thing. Come debate us. Come ask us a question. Bless us with your presence over the phone. But now, our turn. We're going to talk about Big Blue Giants. Big win on Thursday over the Philadelphia Eagles, 34-17. Giants were 7.5-point underdogs going into the game. But it seems like Jackson Dart so far this season, he's 2-1. And somehow, I don't know how, it doesn't make sense, but his one loss is to probably the worst team that he faced.
Yeah, no, it's a little confusing, and it feels like it's going to be a narrative that we might see all season, that this Giants team will lose to teams that they should be winning against, but then beating teams that one would think they lose against. But it's not atypical, I think, of a Giants season sometimes where you just have no idea what to expect.
I feel like the difference from last week is pretty tangible. I feel like if they don't turn the ball over that many times, they win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you
so
don't
if they
throw
just
an interception.
And even the offense on Thursday, like, it just looks good. Like, when they don't turn the ball over, they move. They don't really punt that often anymore. It was a punt fest for the last 3 or 4 years. Like, they look like a real football team. And obviously, I think injury is
real
something.
Football team.
Well, I mean, would you say they were a real football team the last couple years?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Injuries are going to be a problem. Scatterboo wasn't in the injury tent, but that feels like more of a outlier than it is the rule when it comes to him. And Dart was in the tent, so I think from a certain perspective, keeping these guys healthy is the most important thing. But holding on to the ball is kind of what their success depends on.
I don't think Scatterboo can get hurt.
Neither of them. Clearly,
no, like
Dart was out of the game for one possession, and Russell Wilson get him out.
I mean physically. I don't know if Scatterboo can get hurt.
The Dart.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
The Dart airborne headbutt, that has to get that out of the arsenal for sure.
Have you seen the video of him running into the brick wall with his helmet on? It's like,
what, the real one or the AI one?
I've seen both.
There's one of him going
there's
through
an
a
AI
wall.
one?
Yes.
Is it him literally like hitting the wall?
The amount of AI videos I've seen of Scat after the game, like just him running straight into a brick wall head first and going through it.
The video that Gabby's referring to, there's other ways to exercise your neck.
Oh, the one where he's banging his head on the brick wall?
He says he's exercising
he just
his neck.
like runs into it. It seems like a video from probably like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something, but
I don't know if she got caught by an AI or not.
I think you might have
gotten I think you got duped.
No, it didn't look like AI.
I think you might have gotten fooled, Gabby.
Is this the video you're talking about?
I want to find it now.
Okay, go find it, but I think you might have gotten fooled. I think AI might have gotten you this time.
I think it was on a verified sports account.
Is this the video you're talking about?
Is that AI?
No,
yeah,
that's the video you're talking
no,
about?
that one's real.
Yeah. That's
okay,
what I'm
that one's
about.
real. That one's real.
Yeah.
Not,
Guys, come on.
Okay.
I'm not that successful. How gullible do you think I am?
This is the one I thought you were talking about.
Oh no. I have seen that.
I've seen that. The amount, like every single one of my roommates.
It's true though.
Every single one of my roommates is a Giants fan, and after that game, for the record, for everyone listening, I am a Dallas Cowboys fan. But after that game, the amount of edits I've gotten, it was like 2 or 3 videos in a row on TikTok. It was like a Jackson Dart and a Scatterboo edit, like combined.
You know what your algorithm shows you, right? The things you like the most.
Well, I just
got him there. Got him there.
I'm a big sports edit guy.
Just
like
saying.
I'm not. It doesn't have to be Giants. You know, because
one of the best TikTok repost likers of all time.
Yeah, I do
Let's
like
go.
a lot of his reposts.
He's very good at it.
Especially
if I post a LeBron one, it's like barbecue chicken.
It's automatically liked.
Like, comment, saved.
Saved, bookmarked. But it was like the meme pages, and it was like the meme pages of Scatterboo and whatever tough, like he does stuff that humans shouldn't be doing.
Well, I feel like the Texas game last year, Brendan, that was when he makes the catch and then the helmet comes off and he's flexing on the field. Like, that's a lot.
Was so tough.
It's
Dude,
a lot.
He was concussed that game too. Like, he was like wobbly on the sideline and then went right back into the game. I think he was born with CTE. But he is, yeah.
All right.
But no, he is.
Is that hereditary?
Sure. I don't.
Okay.
No, it's
These
not.
kids are gonna have trouble.
Maybe don't say yes. Your go-to answer should be yes to that, honestly.
The doctor from the concussion movie would be pissed with you right now.
No, I think this team has just offensively been so good, and I want to bring it back also. Jackson Dart, 2-1 since he starting these games. His quarterback rating has increased every single game. He went from a 43.7 QBR against the Chargers to a 50.1 QBR against the Saints to an 89.8 QBR against the Eagles. And if any of our listeners don't know what the quarterback rating is, it's a statistic that kind of takes expected points added per play, and then it adjusts it. So it's a scale of 0 to 100. 50 is average, and Jackson Dart just had an 89.8 quarterback rating against the Eagles, and they're supposedly one of the best defenses in the league.
And talking Giants defense, the Giants played primetime Chiefs week 3. They lost 22-9, having given up more than 20 points since then. That's 3 weeks, 3 straight weeks of their defense not giving up 20. They gave up 18 against the Chargers. That wasn't a win. They gave up, they gave up 26. I was more making the point, aside from the Saints and the Cowboy game this year, both in which games, Saint game through turnovers, Cowboy game just through a shootout. Those games, the narrative of the game was high scoring. But when the game is normal, when the game is not fast paced, when the game is playing at the pace the Giant defense can contain, they're holding teams to a very low point total. They only held the Commanders to 21 week 1, which if you watch that game, it could have been a whole lot more. You look, week 3 was the Chief game I just referred to. That was when they gave up 22, and then after that, 18 to the Chargers and Herbert. They give up 26 with 5 turnovers against the Saints. That number should be way higher. And then they only give up 17 against the Eagles. The Eagles have some really weird stats. Like, I think they've given up more yards this year than they've gained on offense. Something
It's not surprising.
Something of that nature. And also their time of possession is bizarre. It just seemed like the perfect storm on Thursday. Giants disappointed, looking for revenge. Eagles a little too satisfied, maybe not as good as people think. One underrated, one overrated. As I said in the open, it just seemed like 2 teams going in different directions.
And I think for Jackson Dart, especially, kind of the underdog story has been his narrative all year that it kind of was not obviously coming off a loss is never a great thing, but it felt like they were in a good position for this game on Thursday, that they needed to prove themselves again. And I think that should be the mindset for them all season, that each game that you play, you're going to have to prove yourself.
They have nothing to lose.
They have
going
nothing to
into these
lose.
games, which is arguably one of the best mindsets to have, or I don't want to call it a problem, but one of the best situations to be in sports is if you have nothing to lose, you're going to go out and give it your all.
You know that Week 18 game's going to matter, right?
It is going to matter, and the Cowboys are going to win it.
Because how many games do you think it'd be like within 1 or 2 games of the wild card at that time?
Who, the Cowboys?
Yeah.
I think we will have a wild card spot at the time.
All right.
Wow.
Actually, there's a good chance that we take the division. I'm confident in that.
I literally just went to their profile on ESPN to check. They are 2-2. I'm like, I thought they were 500. What are you talking about them like they're 4-0?
2-1.
2-1. That's what I meant. Yes.
But
is that over 500 technically?
No, it's like right on 500. I think like technically speaking, it is like exactly 500.
Giants 70% favorites in that game on the ESPN app, Week 18.
Okay, you were looking how many weeks in advance?
I was also kidding. Just curious.
Week 18, right around the corner. Come on.
We're already at that point.
Oh boy.
Giants fans are looking towards that Week 18 matchup. Chris, you mentioned this Giants defense. I want to talk about them too because they have been amazing. You take out, honestly, for me, it's just you take out that Cowboys game, and their front 7 has been phenomenal. Brian Burns with 7 sacks right now through 6 games.
Crazy number.
Tied for the lead with Nick Bonito. But he is just wrecking games. And then you add Thibodeau, you add Abdul up there, and then you add Sexy Dexy to all that. They have an insane front 7, and then you add the linebackers too. You have Okereke, who has been playing. You have McFadden coming back soon. Even on that back half, you have guys like Holland and Adebo who have been playing good enough. When you have a front seven that's able to get pressure as quickly as this Giants front seven is and their D-line is, you don't have to be perfect on the back end. They've looked so good, so scary. It looks like a defense you don't want to mess with.
Definitely, and I mean I think the front seven stuff you said is definitely true. I think the Abdul pick in the draft this year was kind of them doubling down or cementing that front seven, and I think Thibodeau has even played really well this year. A lot of the stuff with him can go under talked about just because of the reputation he's had going into this season and the stars that are around him on that line. But he's been fantastic. A lot of it was a mentality thing with him before. Feels like that has definitely changed now. Love Wan'Dale Robinson as well. He's just, I mean, from a slot perspective, obviously JSN is as good as it gets. But I think if you need 6 or 7 yards, there's not many guys in the slot as dependable as Wan'Dale.
Wan'Dale does look great, especially, I mean, they just went into this game against the Eagles. No Neighbors out for the season. Slayton even was out, and it was just Wan'Dale basically in their passing. And they've called up Lil Jordan Humphrey, Texas alumni, Chris. Lil Jordan Humphrey, who made a big catch on a Jackson Dart. Kind of took a shot down the field, took a shot as he threw it. Lil Jordan Humphrey, 6'4".
The Longhorns might lose me, dude. They might lose me.
You cannot change like that,
dude. It's bad over there.
You can't just change.
This wasn't what I bought into.
This isn't what you signed up for.
No, it is not.
Yeah, you don't always get what you signed up for.
But I wouldn't dip to another. I would dip to nothing and then wait a little bit. Then become a Michigan fan or something.
What?
No, I'm kidding. I probably wouldn't have a college football allegiance, but because I have that college football allegiance, I just can't.
That's so fair weather fan.
I can't devote myself to the Texans as much as I want to, and they're incredibly depressing.
I don't even know what to say.
They are. I'm not saying I will. This is all just hearsay, but I'm just saying the Texans has been the vibe with the Longhorns. I know we're not talking college football, but the vibe with the Longhorns has been so bad. It's been like I might stop becoming a fan.
You are so unloyal. You got to stick with your team through the bad times.
I do, but
you are saying that to a Nets fan though, so give him
credit. Nets, Rangers, they stink now. You want to go band for band on bad teams?
We just talked about the Yankees.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to go band for band on bad teams?
Yeah.
I haven't seen my football team. My football team hasn't won one in over 25 years.
That's like a part of the. That's why you like it. Like if they were winning all the time.
No, that's not why I like it.
Yeah, it's actually not fun.
That is not fun to not watch your team ever win.
I don't want to hear it. To be honest with you, Yankees don't win for another 15, 20 years. Like just no more World Series. We're the Cowboys, and that's really, really, really scary.
The Cowboys might not win one by then. So then aren't the Cowboys.
It'd be pretty presumptuous of you to say that you will win one by then.
We will. Dak's gonna have one.
Yeah?
Yes, Dak's gonna have one. I'm so confident in that.
Where, in Kansas City?
With the Cowboys? I was going to say.
With the Cowboys.
Maybe not in Texas.
Yes, it is in Texas.
He wins one with the Jets or something?
That's funny because the Jets aren't going to win one anytime soon.
No, they're not.
Jets might win one before the Cowboys do.
No, they will not. They will not.
No, they actually.
Who's going to win one first, the Giants or the Cowboys?
The Cowboys.
I don't know,
No,
dude.
the Giants.
The Cowboys are absolutely going to win one before the Giants.
I don't know, dude. Who's seeing a Super Bowl first? Me or you?
We're going to see it at the same. Oh, our teams. The Cowboys. Me.
That was bad on his part. What did you think I was? What?
I don't know. Me. I'm going to see one first.
I don't know about that.
But your Seahawks are not. Are you talking about your Seahawks or are you talking about the Giants?
Talking about my Seahawks. What do you mean what?
Okay,
that's not my team.
You were just advocating for the Giants.
Yeah, because I do that sometimes.
I don't do that.
Yeah, I don't advocate for the Niners. The Giants are out of division, and they're local. My dad's a Giant fan, and my mom. So it's like.
So why did you not follow
And you're
in the
not?
footsteps?
Yeah.
No. Earl Thomas didn't get drafted by the
to be
Giants.
You just want to be different?
He had to be different.
Earl Thomas didn't get drafted by the Giants. Go Horns.
Oh, my God. One more thing before we wrap up, Giants.
Sure.
Back to Scat. And just a quick stat they showed on him, and I want to ask you guys just kind of about this backfield. But he's the second Giants rookie running back in franchise history to rush for 3 touchdowns in a single game. The only other to do that was Charlie Evans. He had 3 in a game against the San Diego Chargers back in 1971. So Scat already putting himself in elite company in the Giants franchise. Saquon didn't even do that.
Do you like Scat Pack or 44 Loco?
Those are both really tough, actually.
They're both really
Good, right?
Those are actually hard. You
44
didn't come up
Loco
with
is
those.
good. No, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Scat Pack is good.
Scat Pack is really good.
Yeah.
But looking at this backfield, it seemed like last night was the first time Tracy was back since he got hurt. But it seemed like it was pretty much all Scatterbo.
And Tracy got that one touch in the second half and had like that miraculous first down where he ended up reaching for it. It just seems like Scatterbo has really cemented himself in that running back room.
And is it because of obviously the injury helps with Tracy going down as Gat has to step up, but Tracy doesn't get hurt. Does Scatterbo take over this running back room anyways?
Yeah, probably.
I would think so at some point, right? I mean, already he's proven that just alone with that stat that you said, he's clearly effective for this Giants team and will, if not this early in the season, would have made an impact down the line.
And in the same way that if Russ got hurt early in the season, you'd be like, well, would they have went to Dart if Russ didn't get hurt? It's like,
true.
I think the same thing is true there. I think regardless of when the Tracy injury happened, he had a good year last year, but him and Singletary's the other back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Neither of them really put themselves head and shoulders above the other, and I think that Scatterbo has done that in this first 6 weeks.
And I think it's true. Like, you get the spot, you want to prove yourself, so you are going to literally run through a wall maybe or run through whoever on the other team to, like, get your yards.
You watch him, he did like a human torpedo where he just head down and dove, like airborne, for the end zone in the game on Thursday night. That is going to be all from us here, though, talking Giants. Great win on Thursday over their division rival, but we are done talking Giants. When we come back, it is time for the MLB playoff talk, and we do have a special guest for that, so stay tuned, and we will be right back after this break.
You're listening to WFUV, New York.
And welcome back into One-on-One. Brendan Shorey here, joined by Gabby Price and Chris Carrino. It's time to talk about some MLB playoff action. And we have a very special guest with us, Barry M. Bloom. He is an award-winning sports columnist and reporter who has been writing about professional sports since 1976. He works at Sportico now, but before joining Sportico in 2020, he penned a sports business column for Forbes for 2 years after covering baseball on and off the field for MLB.com from 2002 to 2018. Barry, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I should hire you to do all my introductions.
I worked hard on it.
It sounded great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess I'll get us started. We have a few questions for you,
Okay.
I'll start with, I know you wrote a piece recently on the Phillies and Rob Thompson. Just what do you kind of think of that whole situation? Do you think Thompson's gone? Do you think he'll still be there next year?
Well, this is what I would do if I was Dave Dombrowski, and he may be one of the few guys because he's kind of like old school, new school, and he's got to make the evaluation himself whether he thinks Thompson is good enough to bring them over the top. But the Phillies have a history that, and I go back, I covered this in the 1970s. They had Danny Ozark managing the Phillies. They won 100 games in back-to-back seasons. They went to the playoffs in 77 and 78, and it was only the NLCS at the time, no previous rounds. And in both years, they lost to the Dodgers. So in 1980, when this all got started again and they had gotten Pete Rose as a free agent, they started off pretty mediocre. And Ruley Carpenter, I think, was the owner at the time. They fired, I think it was Paul Owens as the general manager. They fired him, hired Dallas Green, and Dallas Green brought him over the top. So I would, as much as a nice guy, Thompson, Bruce Bochy is out there. He's 70 years old. He's looking for another managing job. That job he wants is with a team like the Phillies, which is a veteran team with a great pitching staff, and there's no better manager working with a pitching staff than Bruce Bochy. And bring this guy in on a 2-year contract and see if he can bring you over the top. And it's no affront to Rob. I think Rob's a great guy, and I think he's done a good job. But there are just some managers who just, when a world championship guy like Bochy's out there, who's won 4 world championships with 2 different organizations and gone to the World Series with a third, and this is the end of his career, and he's parted ways with the Texas Rangers because he doesn't want to be involved in another rebuild there. I think that would be what I would do at the Phillies.
And I think, hello, Mr. Bloom. I think when looking at the playoffs specifically this year, Toronto's the best example of the traditional, really consistent, great team in the playoffs this year. The team that gets a lot of base hits, the team that is consistent at the plate, doesn't strike out much, very defensively sound aside from a few moments in that Yankee series. Is there an underlying invisible string that you see between the teams that year in and year out are sticking around toward the end of the postseason and are kind of winning all these series?
No, I don't. There is no, string, because it's so different every year. What style of play works, and who is healthy enough during a period of time to go through this labyrinth of playoffs. Yeah, I did a column on the Yankees that'll be posted tomorrow. And to your point, I mean, the Blue Jays struck out 400 less times than the Yankees. They had a much higher team batting average. They put the ball in play, and they just don't rely on the home runs. The Yankees led the majors with 270 home runs, and people think that in the playoffs you're going to have to win with home runs. And yeah, the Blue Jays have done it this year because Guerrero's had a great run. But you never know, when things are going to hit, when it's going to be right. And so the only string I look at is the Dodgers, and then you never know how far they're going to go in a particular year, even with Guggenheim's money, which they spend well, and they've got the best baseball ops in terms of developing players from within and going out and getting great players to fill out the rest of the team. I mean, look, their top three guys in the lineup, Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman, and then add Teoscar Hernandez. They're all free agents. None of them were developed in the organization, but they made the right choices on the free agents they signed, especially when you're talking about a team like the Dodgers. And so they're built to get into the playoffs every year, which they have, and go as far as they can, depending on their injuries and the matchups and, what's going on in that particular year. I mean, if you look at the great, teams in Yankee history, well, number one, there's always a great player, whether it was Ruth, DiMaggio, Mantle, Reggie Jackson, Jeter, now Judge. But in all the cases, previous cases to this year's team, there was a complementary part or more to help substantiate the guy who was the leader, who put the team on its shoulders and helped it win. And, this year in particular, I don't think Judge had much help. And so last year when they had Soto was a huge help. And it's no really, I think, coincidence that the only time in the Judge era that the Yankees have gone to the World Series is because they had Soto last year. And look, to their credit, they went out and they offered Soto $750 million. He decided to go to the Mets. That really didn't work, although Soto had a comparable year at the plate as he did with the Yankees and the Padres and wherever he's played. I mean, he's a really good player, but he's not a leader. And he's proved that with the Padres, proved that this year with the Mets, and he didn't have to be a leader with the Yankees. All he had to do was play. And so Judge had his complementary part. But you look at the old teams, you had Jeter was surrounded with, the rest of the core four, and Bernie Williams, who was a tremendous playoff player. And you had Paul O'Neill, you had Scott Brosius, they picked up one year. You had a great pitching staff in the Jackson era. Go around the field. Munson was the catcher. Shamlis was the first baseman. William Randolph at second. Bucky Dent at short, who hit one of the most famous home runs in Yankee playoff history. Greg Nettles was no slouch, and he was a great third baseman. And you had Jackson and Mickey Rivers, and left field was kind of always problematic on those teams. And then you go same thing in the later years, and in the Mantle era, when they were winning, they were in the World Series every year from 1947 to 1964, except for 1948, 1954, and 1959. That's a record that's never going to be matched. And in that era, you just went to the World Series and you won the pennant, went to the World Series, and you had 4 games to win. In this era, if you're a wild card team, you have to win like 12 games to win the World Series. So there are a lot of pitfalls, and it's the reason why there hasn't been a repeat champion since the Yankees won 3 in a row at the end of the 90s. And even in that era, there was no wild card series. It was just, you had the DS, the Championship Series, and the World Series. And Jeter used to always tease Berra about this, and I always tell this story. I love the story where Jeter is teasing Berra about that fact that he had it easy because all his teams had to do was go to the World Series and win the World Series. And look, Yogi, we have to go through 3 rounds. And Yogi had 10 World Series rings. They won 10 World Series while Yogi was the catcher / outfielder. And one day Jeter was writing him about this, and Yogi was on the training table, and Yogi raised both hands and waved the 10 fingers and said, "I've got 10 of these. You could come over to my house and look at them whenever you want." And so it's impossible. There is no string or consistency to any of this in this era.
Yeah, Barry, thank you so much for joining us again. So you were in Phoenix last night as the Aces won their third championship now. Just from your perspective, what was notable about this game, and how does this title for the Aces maybe compare to the previous two that they've won the past couple of years?
It's funny. I've been covering sports, as your young man noted, since we went in the opening for 50 years. So it's sort of like everything has a circle. So when I was a kid and I started in the San Francisco Bay Area, and the Raiders had their best teams, who owns the Raiders? Al Davis. He was a guy from Brooklyn. I was a guy from the Bronx. He was as cantankerous as a person as I've ever met. But I guess because of our backgrounds, we were Jewish, we were from New York, we got along great with each other. And he would sit in the press box during games, and we'd always talk to each other. And depending on how the Raiders were doing, there'd be a scowl on his face or not. And he'd call me Bah. Hey, Bah, how you doing? And so after the '84 Super Bowl, he coins this phrase completely inadvertently, just win, baby, in the excitement of just winning that Super Bowl. And it was the third one in like less than 10 years. And they haven't won again. But here now you circle ahead all these years, and who's the owner of the Aces? But Mark Davis, his kid, who's been a nothing professional football owner, but his Aces have won 3 out of the last 4 years because he's one of the guys like Matt Ishbia did here in Phoenix, who started to invest in the W. He built their own practice facility. He paid his players better. He went out and got a coach in Becky Hammond, who was assistant coach under Greg Popovich in San Antonio. And basically, he's built the team around that. And he's got perhaps the best player in the league in Asia Wilson. So I think they all build on each other. And really, the Mercury they had a fabulous year, considering that last year was the final year there for Taurasi, who retired, and they let Griner go to free agency in Atlanta, and they really had to rebuild quickly under this coach Nate Tippett, who also was an assistant coach in the NBA, and this is his first coaching job here. But apparently, you don't get to see much of what's going on internally in the W. They're very protective of their coaches and their players, and your exposure to them is pretty limited. But my understanding is that, like Becky, Nate has built a great rapport with the women. He knows how to coach them. He knows how to work with them. They went out with this multiplayer deal in the off season, and they got Salaby and Thomas, which remade the team. They're terrific players. And then they added, when Bonner was released, they added her at midseason, and she was a return to the past with the Mercury, and they wound up having a season that nobody expected them to have. I mean, last year they were 2-out in the playoffs with Taurasi and Griner, and this year, they beat the two teams that competed for the championship last year in the early rounds, and then they just ran into a buzzsaw with the Aces, and I think they ran out of gas. And certainly last night without Salaby, they were really Copper basically steps up and had a great game, but it was just too much for them. So, I mean, really it's no secret that, especially in a league where the collective bargaining agreement is running out, there's going to be a lockout. The women are not making any money. I mean, when I looked it up and wrote it in my story the other night, that they paid Bonner $78,000 to play for them for the rest of the season from July on. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, I think it's the only league where I make more money than the players. So something, I'm not saying that they need to, these people need to get paid at the level of the NBA players. I mean, that's just not going to happen. The league doesn't generate that kind of money, but it needs to be stepped up to a certain extent so that players can earn $2 million, raise the salary cap from 1.5 to like 5 million or maybe a little more. And so these players don't have to go to Europe. They don't have to go to Russia in the off season, and they don't have to put themselves in the situation where Griner did, a number of years ago when she was in Russia and she got arrested and wound up in a Russian gulag for months, never wondering whether she was going to get out again. It's like the women are really susceptible to a lot of problems because of this, and they're starting to make some money. They've got a big television contract now going out the next 11 years. Their attendance is great. I mean, they opened up usually for the Mercury. They close half the arena, and there's like 10,000 seat sellouts for each game, and they do pretty well. But in the last series, they opened up the arena for the 2 games at home to the Suns' capacity, and they drew the Suns' capacity. It was a great crowd, and it's a great crowd. It's a great audience. I love the game. I love the league. I love the players, and I love seeing all the young fans, especially the young kids and girls who just got really jazzed up by this. It's really, for a 74-year-old guy, it really excites me to see something like this in its budding stage. And, keep in mind, I saw baseball, in the wake of, when I was a kid, in the wake of, like, the Babe Ruth era. I saw football when Al Davis was the renegade owner, and the AFL and the NFL were in their formative stages. I saw the NBA when the ABA contested them. And to see something like this, they just have to figure it out. They just do it. I think they will ultimately. But I think the players deserve a lot better than what they're getting.
Mr. Bloom, I kind of want to shift here. And one thing I didn't mention when I did your intro is that you have been a voter for the National Baseball Hall of Fame since 1992. And I just kind of want to ask, just how is that experience been?
Well, it's a great experience, and I think if you ask, anybody who has the right to vote for players for the Hall of Fame, that it's an honor, and you really take that experience very, very, you take it very, it's important. You take it very seriously. So every year, when I get the ballot, and I start to size up who I think should be, worthy to be one of my 1 to 10 spots on the ballot. I do a lot of research on it, and certainly, from year to year, you've done that research, and you know that people what guys' qualifications are, and who should or who should not be in the Hall of Fame. And and then you get a whole group of new guys, first year qualifiers who you have to size up and see whether they belong in the Hall of Fame. And so the only thing that I've about the Hall of Fame is the abstinence to the so-called steroid guys getting into the Hall of Fame, and what to do about Pete Rose, which has always been a problem. That's been my main issues with the Hall of Fame. They have a policy where they try and restrict the amount of people who are in the hall. They 1% of all players are in the Hall of Fame. It's about 250 players as opposed to 20,000 who have played Major League Baseball over the course of time since the 19th century. So they're very small numbers either way, but they want to keep it exclusive, and the hall and the board have decided that to some of these players they don't want to sully the hall and put them in the Hall of Fame, whether you're Shoeless Joe or Rose or Bonds or Clemens. But the thing of it is, we have a Hall of Fame now where the top home run hitter, Barry Bonds, is not in the Hall of Fame. The top all-time hit leader is not in the Hall of Fame. The only player in history to hit 60 home runs in 3 successive seasons is not in the Hall of Fame. One of the only players to accumulate 500 home runs and 3,000 hits is not in the Hall of Fame. The second highest win total of any pitcher from his era, Roger Clemens with 354, is not in the Hall of Fame. So what are we doing here? I mean, we're excluding a whole class of people for various reasons, not because of what they did on the field, but because for one reason or another, we're holding it against them that for some reason they did what they did, and their accomplishments while they were doing it, despite what they did, are not being honored, and the Hall of Fame is not complete.
In a different vein, Mr. Bloom, what about Don Mattingly?
I think Don Mattingly is and Mike Trout's going to wind up facing the same situation. Mm-hmm. And Mattingly, who's a good friend of mine, I've talked about this often, Don Mattingly does not believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
His numbers were short. His career was curtailed by back injuries and personal problems, and so he didn't have the full 10 to 20 years that you would need of consistency and high numbers to get in the Hall. Now, conversely, Steve Garvey did, and Steve Garvey has, he was one of the greatest postseason players in history. He won All-Star Game MVPs, League MVPs, Championship Series MVPs. He played the most consecutive games of any player in the National League. He has the longest errorless streak for any first baseman in history. And he was just consistently good to great every year, and he doesn't get a sniff for the Hall of Fame. I mean, Andy Pettit now, because this guy admitted that he did steroids 1 year because he had an injured elbow, and I believe that it was more extensive than that. But still, the guy had 250 victories. He was a cog on 5 Yankee World Series teams that won. He played on a Houston team that went to the World Series the 1 year. In the interim, he wasn't with the Yankees. And he has 19 playoff wins, the most in history, and he's not even getting a sniff for the Hall of Fame. I just don't. The voting contingency and the way we do it, there's no pattern to it. We don't have any sort of criteria except the one clause in there, which is the clause that says, you have to judge a guy on his behavior while for the teams that he played for when he was in the game. And people use that clause against guys for what they did off the field after they were in the game. And you interpret it any way you want, but there's no other criteria for how we get into the Hall of Fame. How players get into the Hall of Fame. And then the committee, whatever that rule is, and it changes from time to time, there's no criteria for that, and that's a really anonymous, process, because they don't even allow the 16 voters who are on that committee to tell you why you voted or didn't vote for a person. And to me, I publish my Hall of Fame ballot every year, and I write a column about it. I think every Hall of Fame writer should not be anonymous. And so the guy or Val who didn't vote for Jeter or didn't vote for Ichiro, they should have to tell you why. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, but you should be responsible to the public to tell you why. And the baseball writers who have exclusive voting for the Hall, the only criteria is you have to be a baseball writer for 10 years or more, and that's it. And once you are, you can vote for your entire career and then 10 years afterwards. The the fact is that we have asked the Hall to make it transparent, and the Hall has turned it down. And on all our votes, we vote for awards every year. We're transparent. I mean, I just voted for the National League MVP, and when it's announced, my ballot with my 10 guys is going to be published, and then people are going to be able to read it, and they can call me, write me. They'll tell me I'm an idiot on Twitter X or somewhere or Facebook, and you'll have a full vetting and discussion about it. And I don't say that my decisions are always right. I can tell you why I made the decisions, but I could be wrong. And I've had people who've said to me, "Well, why don't you vote for Bagwell?" And I go, "Well, as long as Garvey's not in the Hall of Fame, I'm not voting for Bagwell." And then they'd argue back and forth with me, and they proved a good case. And I said, "Okay, next year I'm going to take another look at it." And as I looked at Bagwell and compared him to other first basemen in the Hall, he compared very well. So I wound up voting for him, and this was based on somebody's exposure to what I had voted for the year before. So if I hadn't been transparent about it, I wouldn't have gotten that feedback, and then I wouldn't have voted for Bagwell to get into the Hall of Fame. And that happened to me with Billy Wagner, with with a number of different players who I didn't vote for early in the process, and then when you reevaluated it year by year, later in the process, I started voting for them. Burt Blyleven was another one. It's like the voting process for the Hall is interesting, and people ask me all the time, "Well, why, if you didn't vote for the person the first year, why did you vote for them later?" And a lot of it is how they size up against players who are on the ballot in those particular years. And also, as the sport changes, it used to be 15 years on the BBWA ballot. Now it's 10. But the game changes over the course of time. And certainly pitching, more than any other position, has evolved, both in the bullpen and, in starting. And what pitchers do now, as opposed to what pitchers did then. I mean, guys, we should have voted Jim Conn into the Hall of Fame, and we didn't. We have never voted Tommy John into the Hall of Fame. He should be in. I mean, based on what pitchers are doing now, that's how I want them voting for Blyleven in the last 4 or 5 years he was on the ballot. Because you look at his complete games, shutouts, wins, how many times he pitched, what he did over the course of years, all the teams he played for, and it's like nobody's doing that now. So, I mean, yeah, this guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and you have to apply what he did to the criteria of what's judged by pitching now.
Yeah, that is all that we have for you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bloom, for calling in and giving us your expertise in this area.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thanks. You guys did a great job. I appreciate the varied questions.
Of course, and thank you for your answers. That is also going to do it for us on this segment, and we will be right back after this short break.
Hey sports fans, it's Bobby C. I'm the sports director here at WFUV. From live broadcasts of Fordham Athletics to coverage of all the professional sports teams in the NYC, we've got everything a sports fan could ask for. Like talking sports? Check out One on One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show, as well as our diverse collection of podcasts. If you're a Fordham student interested in joining our program, feel free to shoot me an email, bobbyc@wfuv.org. And as always, thank you to all of our listeners who support us every week. 90.7 FM is the home of WFUV Sports.
And welcome back into One-on-One. Brendan Shorey here with Chris Carrino and Gabby Price. Guys, if you want to call in, 718-817-2750. I repeat, 718-817-2750. That is the phone number. We would love to hear you. We would love to debate you, answer your questions. Whatever you have for us is great.
We're here to take it, yeah.
We are here to take it. Right now, we're going to talk about JETS. Gangrene, if you will.
Jets. Finish
what-
your chant there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jets just lost 37-22 to my Cowboys last week. They are now 0-5, last in the AFC East, the last winless team, the only 0-5 team to ever record 0 turnovers in their first 5 games defensively.
Wow.
To force 0 takeaways.
All right, that's a little bit.
Making history in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
They haven't turned the ball over defensively?
They haven't forced
No.
any turnovers.
Oh, okay. But how many turnovers have they committed?
I know Fields has no interceptions, but he has a fumble. I want to say maybe they have. I know last week Breece Hall fumbled. I want to say those might be their only 2. Maybe there's one other fumble in there that I'm missing, but they haven't turned the ball over too much offensively. But they've forced 0 on defense, which is kind of crazy.
bad. It's honestly kind of impressive that you can play 5 games at this point and not force a turnover, or even just like happen to come across one. You know what I mean? Like they haven't played any
like a gift.
fantastic team so far. I no hate to your Cowboys,
They
but
are
like
fantastic.
it does. Like no, settle. It is just crazy though that is a real stat for this Jets team right now, which isn't surprising given the context of the Jets team right now. They're very bad, but it does seem
Understatement.
surprising. Yeah. What words do you want to use? Like,
no,
it's
there's no words to describe.
unbelievable,
There's no words to
actually.
describe this.
And
team.
they were 20th in the league in takeaways last year, so it's not even like they were the worst in the league last year. Like they were around middle of the pack. So
To me, it's a little more worrying just because you brought in Aaron Glenn, who, new head coach. He's a defensive-minded head coach. Like, mind you, he was the defensive coordinator for the Lions last year, and he comes in, and I don't know if it's I can't really.
nothing has gotten
can't
better from last year.
Also, first team with no takeaways through the first 5 games period since 1933.
They are historically bad. Like I don't.
But I feel like this year is also different. This year it seems like they've hit a new low that they have not hit in the past, I don't know, 5 years.
Since Joe Namath.
Since, go way back. I don't know.
Since they actually won one, they are. I just like. There's no words to describe how bad this Jets team. I want to get you guys' take. Obviously, there are a lot of problems if there's a team that's 0-5 with 0 takeaways. But like, what do you think is the biggest problem with this Jets team?
I think it's the fact that nothing is getting better. You're 5 games in at this point, and you're talking about the same problems that you did game 1. We kind of talked about it with the Giants. They were struggling a little bit offensively. It turns around, given, you have Dart now as your quarterback, but things turn around after 5 games in because you're working on things in practice, or at least you're saying you're working on your problems in practice. They're still having high penalties. That's something that they've been saying that they're trying to get down for the past 4 games, and nothing has happened.
I also think the timing of the Saleh firing really hurt this defense as well. Not to say that it wasn't the right move. Saleh, you probably need to move on from Robert Saleh eventually, but the timing in which they did it, I think it really hurt this defense.
Well, their defense went from one of the best, if not the best, to a very
the best,
average.
Brendan.
One of the best.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I said
You
one
said
of
one
the
of, if not the. No one's saying the latter.
Okay, they had some pretty good.
They were like top. They weren't even a top 5 defense last year.
But they were decent.
You said one of, if not the best defense
when
in the
Saleh
NFL.
was there.
Yeah.
They were one of the best defenses in the NFL.
That's not the argument. The argument I'm making is that one of and the is like.
Okay, my bad.
Why
for the
is
wording.
this the argument you're picking right
my
now?
argument,
Is my
argument I'm
question.
making is that because even last year it felt with Rodgers it felt a little different. But if the defense is like top tier, like the best, regardless of how the offense is, they're gonna win games. And that was the problem last year, is that I guess similarly with takeaways, as I just said, they were 20th last year. Like, the defense wasn't moving the needle last year to a point where it was affecting the game. It was maybe making some score lines look more flattering for the Jets, but it wasn't doing what it needed to do.
No, I agree with that. I don't.
So saying they're arguably the best defense in the NFL.
They are They were under Robert Saleh.
Well, they're no longer.
No longer.
I mean,
no longer.
Bringing this back to 2025.
And Brendan, with your from your perspective as an analyst, how can they have such good defensive players and still be a good defense, but get no takeaways?
They also have 14 missed tackles.
I mean,
so
you've never
just against the Cowboys.
Their tackling is terrible.
Their tackling is terrible, but this is something we've never seen before. As a team, be this bad at forcing takeaways. I don't know if it's obviously that missed tackles stat is a big part of it. But I think outside of Sauce, and Sauce has played pretty good this year. Outside of him, it just doesn't seem like there has been a whole lot of defensive production from the rest of the guys, which is kind of like that's where I guess that's coming into play. I mean, look at this last week against the Cowboys. Sauce was on pick. He's shadowed Pickens the entire game, and Pickens got the best of him on the long touchdown, but it was pretty quiet. You know who wasn't quiet? Ryan Flournoy, who had a career high in receiving yards, receptions. He was elevated earlier this season. He is filling in for an injured CeeDee Lamb, and to be completely honest, he hadn't shown a whole lot of. He had shown promise, but he hadn't shown a whole lot on the field in his early career. But then nobody else outside of Sauce could guard Flournoy. So I think it's just a lack of production from everyone else on that defensive side. Another thing I want to talk about, their wide receiver depth is atrocious. Tyler Johnson is their second leading receiver. But you want to know the guys who are ahead of him in receptions, targets, receiving yards? Mason Taylor, Breece Hall, backup tight end Jeremy Ruckert, all ahead of Tyler Johnson. Garrett Wilson is like the focal point of this offense. 48 targets, 33 receptions on those. Wide receiver 2, Tyler Johnson, 4 receptions on 6 targets for 63 yards on the year. Like, that's just...
Like, what are we doing?
What are we actually... Like, you can't have that little production from your wide receiver room and expect to win games.
No. I mean, that's as simple as I think about it, too.
It's a big problem. And I don't even think it's Justin Fields' fault. Like, I think Fields is playing average.
He's fine, but he still holds on to the ball longest in the NFL.
He does, and that's a big problem. That's why he took so many sacks last week.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
not helping himself there or his offense.
No, he's not. A Cowboys team that came into the game with 5 sacks all year sacked him 5 times. It's part him. It's part offensive line. Before we wrap up, I know it's Aaron Glenn's first year, but because of how historically bad this Jets team is Aaron Glenn on the hot seat at all?
No.
No?
I mean, did they think he was going to win this?
I'd expect to
feel
win.
like a coaching fire happens when you don't meet expectations, and it's hard to say that Aaron Glenn hasn't met expectations.
Expectations weren't high though, and somehow they're
the bar
still
was set super
they're
low.
still disappointing people.
But honestly, trying to rationalize anything Woody's going to do is, I feel like you're driving yourself crazy. He's going to he might fire him, he might not.
I don't think he should
It wouldn't
fire
make
him.
sense to fire him,
It's
given that they
truly
one
signed
year-
a contract
first
and
year.
everything. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Pay for another coach? Like, I don't know if
They seem to like him for all intents and purposes.
He's a no nonsense guy. I was at the Jets Steelers game at the press conference, and he was a no nonsense guy. He's kind of what the Jets need. He holds the players accountable. I don't remember what player it is, but there was an unsportsmanlike conduct like after the play, and in the press conference, Aaron Glenn was just straight up said, "You can't do that. If you do that, you're not going to be on the field." So like, it's kind of that's like the mentality that the Jets need. It's just the product on the field has been lacking.
they just need someone in their locker room then to step up. It can't just be Aaron Glenn. It has to be a player production mindset as well. But it is hard being 0-5, losing to teams that you probably shouldn't lose against, to kind of, have that tenacity or whatever.
A historically bad season for the Jets. That's going to do it for us here talking about the Jets. 0-5 right now. And we will be right back on the other side of this break. More football this time. It's going to be college football. Stay tuned for that. What's up, everyone? I'm Brendan Shorey.
And I'm Joe Henry, your 2025 New York Jets beat reporters.
Follow along with us every Sunday as we cover and analyze all things JETS.
With a new quarterback at the helm, can Aaron Glenn right the ship and cause chaos in the AFC East?
Stay updated every week with game updates and recaps from @Brendan_Shorey
and @JoeHenry_4 on X.
WFUV, your home for Jets football. And welcome back in to One-on-One. Brendan Shorey here, joined by Chris Carrino and Anthony Smith in to talk about some college football.
Welcome, Anthony.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes. College football, it seems, is your specialty. At least it's going to seem like that way to our viewers.
One-on-one debut.
Yes, one-on-one debut.
There we go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's time to talk some college football. We've discussed all the professional football we're going to. But some big games this week. Dare I say, massive, Chris.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to ask him. He's joining in. He might need a mic check of some sort anyway. What's the game you're looking at today? Just give it to us broadly. You're a college football guy. We talked about it before the show. Every college football guy has one game on the schedule, especially a Saturday. One game on the calendar, especially one today. What is that game for this Saturday?
I know Indiana and Oregon's really looked at a lot today, but I'm really looking at this Alabama-Missouri matchup going on right
Okay, yeah,
now.
we're gonna talk. That's obviously the big matchup this week, the Oregon game. But talk that Alabama matchup.
It's just Alabama coming off 2 straight wins against ranked opponents. They beat Georgia, obviously, which was a big game on the road, and then Vanderbilt, obviously, with possible thoughts of Vanderbilt maybe coming in with an upset, and then they took care of business. And as for Missouri, it's just trying to move up in the rankings, trying to beat a top 10 team. And it should be interesting right now, tied at 7. So
I feel like a lot of hype is coming from the Alabama quarterback right now. It felt like Stockton had a lot of hype at Georgia, and it feels like that hype train is almost completely shifted to Simpson.
yeah, Simpson's played really good this year. I mean, Milroe was on and off last year, and Simpson's really gave them consistency, and he's helped them win games.
Especially
And
throwing the ball specifically.
That-
Milroe had
that was
so much
something
trouble
Milroe
last
struggled
year.
with.
Yeah.
And he's really bounced back ever since that FSU game, and they've been great ever since. So
I was going to say, that
And
seemed
now,
like
and now Milroe gets brought in Seattle to pitch the ball on options and then fumbles.
Did he fumble recently?
He was a specialty pitcher, like to pitch the ball and then threw a fumble. So I don't get what the whole point of that was. Anyway, Go on.
That's your Seahawks rant.
It's my QB1 in 4 years.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
I was never high on him, but it's
Who's your
funny.
backup?
Joe Milton.
Thank you.
That boy slings the ball.
To the defense.
Gunslinger.
To the defense.
Gunslinger. Anyways, it's funny that you mentioned the Alabama-Mizzou game because that was the top one I had on my notes. Bama came into this one favored by 2.5 points on the road at Mizzou. And you mentioned, Anthony, how much Bama has bounced back since that game against Florida State.
The game is done. The first quarter's already over, by the way. It's 7-7, Missouri-Bama. Tied. Did you mention that?
No, I
okay,
didn't.
I just want to go on.
No, Anthony mentioned it was 7-7 earlier.
Yeah, Simpson 7 for 8 right now from the field.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why I said it like basketball, but
from the field.
Yeah. Go
7
on.
for 8 from the field.
Go on. I'm just trying to add context.
No, that's some good context.
Thank you.
I think the big question mark for me here is Mizzou, and are they really that good or good enough to be a highly ranked team? They're number 15 right now, but I mean they're 5-0, yes, but who have they really beat? Last week they beat UMass 42-6, their best win against South Carolina at home. They beat them by 9. That was back when South Carolina still had a lot of hype, which they have since lost. I don't know. I'm just kind of confused by this Mizzou team.
Yeah, I guess this game is really going to show their true identity if they come out on top or not, or if maybe they even just keep it a close game because obviously Alabama's such a powerhouse. So it's really just how you play this game. Right now, it's 7-7, so still trying to figure out what's going to go on with the rest of this game. What really surprises me, though, is that the quarterback for Mizzou, Perbola, has thrown only 2 passes, and he's 1 for 2.
That is shocking. First quarter.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, that Oregon game is going to dominate a lot of the headlines today. The USC-Michigan game I feel like is super interesting because Michigan goes on the road. Both teams seem to be fighting for relevance in their own way in the Big Ten. USC kind of needs to win because they need the legitimate win after coming off the loss against Illinois last week. And then in a similar vein, on the other side, Michigan doesn't want to go 2 losses in the Big Ten this quickly, especially with big games like Ohio State later on the schedule. They want to have some sort of relevance in the playoff conversation. They need to win road games like this. Another game that might be going under the radar slightly, Florida. They beat Texas last week. DJ Lagway.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now DJ Lagway walks into...
Why did DJ Lagway look like a good quarterback all of a sudden?
Because he does that sometimes. He does, no?
Yeah, I just...
That's why he took the job last year, because he looked like the best quarterback.
But and then he'll do that and then have games where he'll go out and throw 5 interceptions.
And he has a big test today at that 12th man at Texas A&M. A&M's really good. It was probably the best finish to a game I've seen all season long when they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That final drive was just ridiculous. That is going to be a game I'm really keeping a keen eye on. If Florida can win that game, too, that's 2 top 10 wins in the SEC back-to-back weeks. That would be super impressive. And for Texas A&M, it would just be another ring on that confidence ladder they continue to climb as they kind of head toward playoff season.
Yeah, Texas A&M, as much as I hate to say it, actually looked good this year.
I love Marcel Reed. Is ridiculous.
He is what they have been needing.
He's what Lagway thinks he is.
He is what Lagway thinks he is.
Thank you.
No problem, Chris. I'll emphasize your point there. Another game for me I'm looking at, Ohio State, Illinois. And I don't have too keen of an eye on this one. Ohio State's favored by 14.5 points.
They're up 10-0 after the first quarter here.
I am absolutely not gonna hop on the Illinois train. I'm not convinced that team is a good team, especially after the loss to Indiana.
Yeah, they got blown out of the park by Indiana.
I also think Indiana's really good.
They are.
Yes.
Especially their quarterback.
But I think Illinois are big frauds, and this is really just going to, show their true colors here today against Ohio State. Although it's a really tough game, and they're at home, I don't know. I think it's just really going to show that they're really not as competitive as these other Big Ten teams like Indiana, Ohio State, or Oregon.
Why were they ranked so high before the Indiana game? Weren't they like 9th in the country?
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
9th,
why?
And Indiana was 19th. So
why?
I don't know. They had convincing wins against low-tier schools.
I think somebody here in FUV, I think it might have been Tucker, said that they confused the I teams and put 1-9 and 1-19 by accident.
It looks like that. I mean, it really does. I mean, and even you want to talk from a surprise perspective, I think that Florida State game can garner some surprises today as well. But I think Illinois, it's sort of indicative of this new Big Ten and post-conference realignment. Some of these teams will get a high rating regardless of the talent they've played, and then eventually, especially in the modern Big Ten, you will play teams like Ohio State, teams like Indiana, and there seems to be tests at all stages of each conference, and that doesn't end with the Big 12, and that doesn't end with the ACC either, as Florida State's seeing right now at Pittsburgh. They're losing in the second quarter.
It's crazy how we mention Indiana as like a powerhouse now.
Well, with Cignetti, it feels like they are. I mean, you ask, why did Cignetti go there? But if there's room to grow and become this powerhouse, why would he go anywhere else?
Oh, absolutely. It's just funny thinking back to when we were kids and watching college football, to all the teams that were up at the top. You know, your Bama, your Georgia, your Michigan, your Ohio State, all those teams. And then now it's like, oh, and Indiana. Don't forget Indiana.
Yeah, and Mendoza, their quarterback, he might be the Heisman. He might be the first pick in the draft.
I'm a Dante Moore guy.
Both of those things, he's the front runner for both of those things. So
I'm a Dante Moore guy through and through.
Okay, I just think when my roommate, and I didn't know, I wasn't keeping up with Mendoza maybe as much as I should have. My roommate's like, did you know the odds-on favorite for the first overall pick and the Heisman right now is the Indiana quarterback? I was like, I did not know that. He's 16 touchdowns to 1 interception this year, 82.0 QBR, 1,200 yards so far. That's just in 6 games. That is an impressive resume to start your season. Indiana, kind of scary. I wouldn't want to play them. I especially wouldn't want to play them in a Big Ten championship game at all.
No, and you mentioned Mendoza's kind of stats for the season. Indiana is 4th in the NCAA in points per game at 47.8.
Wow.
That's an offense that he leads. So if his personal stats don't give you a reason, then maybe those team ones do. Now that we're talking about Indiana, 7 Indiana at number 3 Oregon. Oregon 7.5-point favorites, especially after that win against Penn State last week in the whiteout game, or last game in the whiteout game, 30-24 in overtime. Oregon, one of the best offenses and defenses in college football statistically. Dante Moore's leading that team. Just briefly, I'll start with you, Anthony. Picks for that game?
I think, Oregon coming off a bye, they're gonna come off a little rusty. Indiana might take an early lead in the beginning, but I think Oregon's gonna come out on top, win by a 7 to 10 point margin.
Chris?
Do I do it?
No, you don't.
Give me the Hoosiers.
Don't do it.
Give me
Don't
the
you dare.
Hoosiers.
Don't do it.
Give me Mendoza. Also, if you guys aren't super familiar with him, do either of you remember the Cal quarterback crying in the post-game interview last year after their game? That
was
him.
Mendoza.
That is a clip that's being used a lot right now when talking about his character in terms of the draft process. Seems like a guy people are really liking at the next level right now. From a consistency level, not only with him, but this entire Indiana team, it'd be hard for me to choose against them, especially with that performance Oregon had against Penn State. They win that game, but it seemed like in a lot of ways they tried to give that game away, and I don't think a team like Indiana will let them give the game away like they did.
I'm taking Oregon, and finally, before we wrap this.
Love Dan Lanning, though. Oh, man,
I
is he
love
great.
Dan Lanning.
Oh, man, is he great.
He is awesome. Especially that one video of him going and jumping in the pool with his recruit, and then the recruit flips. And goes to another school. Anyways, one more game before we wrap. Chris, big one for us. Texas at Oklahoma. Red River rivalry at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. OU, sixth ranked team in the country right now. Only favored by 1.5 points, actually. John Mateer is probable for this one. Just quickly, I'll start with you, Chris, because we share that UT fandom. What do you think about this game?
The Red River is always interesting. The Red River feels every year that whether you have the leg up on Oklahoma or Oklahoma has the leg up on Texas going into the game, that it doesn't matter a whole lot.
It's almost always a very close game, except for what was it last year where Texas won 49-0?
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel was my first Red River, I believe. That game, which is a heartbreaker, and that game more than any of the other ones. sort of proves the same thing that a Auburn-Alabama game proves, where it's a major stage for both teams to really put themselves on the map. And also, you can really sort of outplay your coverage in a game like that. In a game like that, the expectations you may have on your team can go up because whether Oklahoma can be better than them on a random Tuesday or in 2 weeks, the Red River brings this sort of energy that it feels like anyone can win regardless of the year.
Texas, number 1 ranked team at the beginning of the year, and it's really just for all
the
Texas
AP had trouble.
Texas
preseason
fans.
this year.
Chris, I think you mentioned it earlier. Like, this is not what we signed up for. If you're a Texas fan, being unranked going into this game, and Oklahoma being ranked 6th, but I think John Mateer, he's probable to play. I think maybe the injury plays into a little bit of this game that Texas could keep up with them and maybe pull off the upset. I wouldn't say upset. I don't know. I think it'll be close. I originally thought that maybe Texas was gonna lose this game by at least like 7 to 10 points, but I don't know. I think they could pull it off if John Mateer struggles in this game.
This is the first time I'm going to ever ask this, Brendan, because I objectively know this is a sort of dumb question. At the Cotton Bowl, so many Longhorn fans are going to be there. Can they rush the field if they win?
No.
And Texas fans wouldn't even do that, right?
Are you saying physically or like
I mean
should they be able spiritually? No, like
no,
are you
I mean physically.
No, my question is, do you mean are they physically capable of doing it at that stadium?
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Cotton Bowl you can't rush the field.
Do you think if that game was in Austin, they rushed the field? Because I feel like from a certain perspective, it's like, who did I see? It was some team recently where they got the big upset win, but
Over Florida
Virginia?
State?
UCLA.
Virginia, right?
UCLA.
Oh, over Penn State?
Yeah, when they beat Penn
they
State
did
the other day, like 20 people rushed the field and they all got arrested.
Oh.
It's like some of those places.
You got to go in masses. 20
Yeah,
people is not
it's
enough.
also true. But I think because of the brand, you don't. It's like it's an underdog thing to do.
You're supposed to be one of the best teams in the country.
Right.
You can't rush the field at that point.
Got it.
So much bias is going into my pick, but I got Texas. Offensive line has struggled big time. OU
I
is
thought you were about to be like, so much bias going into my pick. I'm taking the Sooners.
absolutely not. Texas offensive line has struggled big time. OU leads the nation in sacks. I think the offensive line finally steps up. I think Arch Manning makes some plays. I think Mateer's injury will come into play.
Has to.
It has to. I think there's a very realistic world in which Texas wins this, but as you mentioned, Chris, it's going to be close. That's going to do it for us here talking college football. Some big games this weekend, especially today. Go watch those and stay tuned on the other side of this break. We're going to be talking some Knicks, some Nets. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WFUV, New York.
And welcome back into One-on-One. Brendan Shorey here with Chris Carrino and Gabby Price, and it's time to talk some ball. We're going to hit the court. Before we do, if you guys want to call in questions, comments, anything to debate us on. 718-817-2750. I repeat, 718-817-2750. Derek would love to pick up the phone in the back. He's dying for someone to call in. So please give him his wish. Time for us now. We're going to hit the court. Knicks and Nets right now. We're lucky enough to have a beat reporter for each of them on the show today. I mentioned that earlier. Gabby Price, one of our Knicks beat reporters this year. Chris Carrino, one of our Nets beat reporters this year. And as you can see, Chris is a Nets fan with his Nets hat on, who has gone through a lot of pain and suffering these past few years.
It's a nice hat, Chris.
All right, dude. Thank you.
It is a nice hat.
Thank you.
I know
High quality?
Chris does have a very strong hat game. I will say that.
I like it more than Brendan.
Wow.
Thank you.
No. Yeah. I think
he likes all his hats more than he likes anyone.
No, I like Gabby more than I like this hat. It's a hat, dude. Of course, she's a human.
All right.
What are you calling
Alright.
Brendan?
Hey, you have to kind of come up with your own conclusions. I feel like.
Love you,
But yeah,
Chris.
the Nets.
Thanks, Chris. Love you.
Of course, dude. No, yeah, the Nets are two games into their preseason campaign this season. Two games into the new era, the new Jordy Fernandez era. Jordy takes over last year, his first season at the helm. A mishmash of a roster. The Mikal Bridges trade in the summer kind of puts the entire roster into limbo. A lot of players on their way out, a lot of players on their way in. But now, at the start of this season, it feels like 12 guys going in one direction, or an organization going in one direction instead of, maybe 3 or 4 directions.
Behind countless rookies.
The rookies are the story this year. I mean, aside from Kobe Buffkin, of course. Kobe will be a big story all year. But the 5 rookies are where the success of this season is. It's not in wins and losses. It's not in the record of this team. It's in how well or how these rookies gel to the NBA. I'll give all 5 right now. Jaeger Joman, Nolan Traore, Drake Powell, Ben Suraf, and Danny Wolf. Those are the 5 guys in order in this first round draft class for the Nets, first team to ever draft that many guys in the first round.
And how many of them are guards?
3.
Okay, just curious.
Drake Powell's a guard if you play really big. But they've played 2 games so far, the Nets, in the preseason. It's the only 2 games we've really gotten with this full unit in net uniforms. We saw some summer league stuff, but this is the first time really seeing them all together, including including Michael Porter Jr., not Michael B. Jordan. That would be a wrinkle.
Michael B. Jordan, new Nets player.
Including Cam Thomas, who his contract situation ended up getting solved.
Shot chuckers.
Toward the end of the summer. He'll be a free agent next summer. They've gone well so far, the first 2 games. They beat an Israeli team in a home game. That was last Saturday. Our Kurt Sippel was there. They win that one by 50 or so. The scoreboard isn't really what matters. This postseason and this regular season, or this preseason and this regular season, Terrence Mann was really good in that game against the Israeli side, 6 for 7 from the field and 12 points. And then yesterday, my dad was up early, going to Secaucus. I think he left around 6 a.m. from our house in central New Jersey to go to Secaucus to broadcast the Nets and Suns from China. A long way for the Nets to travel, and they look decent.
Where did the broadcast take place for that?
In China, or where was my dad?
Where was your dad? He was
Secaucus.
broadcasting it. Okay.
That's where the Nets office is. Have you ever seen the instant replay, the replay center?
Yeah.
It's the same building, only 20 feet away from probably where he called the game. But then now, the game yesterday, it was early in the morning. Real Net fans are the only ones really watching this one, and real Suns fans, obviously. The Suns, for the most part, it was a dispersed offense. It was a dispersed effort defensively as well. It seemed not a ton really stuck out on their side from a stat perspective. And then you look on the other side, Cam Thomas had a really good game, especially scoring the ball. There were some really nice flashes from guys like Danny Wolf. Jaeger Joman, the lottery pick for this Net team, is still injured. He has a foot injury. He won't be back for the next couple weeks. So we only got really a taste of the 4 rookies. Drake Powell looked really good as well. His athleticism matched with his defensive tenacity really has Net fans excited. Ben Suraf is already picking up Manu Ginobili comparisons for his European guard off the bench vibe that he brings. It's all looking positive right now. Not positive in the we're not going to beat the Knicks 4 times next year. It's not positive in the grand scheme of winning basketball games consistently, but in the context of building an identity and building a team that I can be proud of watching and a team that I can sink my teeth into and really follow, especially a lot of these young guys, it's going to be a really successful year, a really positive year. Jaeger Joman, first lottery pick the Nets have had since Derek Favors. That was 2011, Gabby. So excited nonetheless, regardless of how much talent there may be.
Yeah, the ship doesn't right itself in one off season.
And I always say, in all sports, not just basketball, all sports, owner, GM, coach, if you can get that right, those three aligned and correct, it's hard to not succeed. Like, it won't happen right away, but in the long term, it is genuinely, you have to try not to succeed if you have a good GM, a good owner, and a good coach. And I think the Nets have done that. Now it's just about letting that all come to fruition.
Yeah, and I think you have rookies now who want to buy into your program
Yeah.
and to, rebuilding a team, like you were just saying. So, yeah, and also what you said, these preseason games, they're more about seeing who's on your team than, getting the result at the end of the day, because it doesn't mean that much right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what the Nets are doing reminds me a lot. It's eerily reminiscent of the Thunder rebuild, and how giveaway guys like Cam Johnson, like Mikal Bridges go get picks, and then you have so many picks, and you just build your organization from the ground up with all these young guys. And we saw how that worked for the Thunder. It worked amazingly. And now you have, like you were saying, Chris, owner, head coach, GM, all aligned. You have a group of young guys, like Gabby, you just said, who are all seemingly bought in to just the culture and the program. And that's, like, it's a rebuild that should be studied, that should be replicated. And I think the Nets did a near perfect job.
I mean, and you kind of said it in the beginning, but I think it's not a rebuild that needs to be studied, but it's a rebuild that came from guys studying a rebuild, and that rebuild was the Thunder rebuild. I mean, I think it's obvious that Sean Marks and the rest of the front office saw what Oklahoma City did,
And I saw how well it worked.
almost modeling it directly after. And just on a roster perspective as well, Nicholas Claxton from in the center position conversation seems to be what he is. He's not going to become any more, not going to become any less. Nick Claxton is what he is. Noah Clowney and Day'Ron Sharp, maybe the biggest question marks for this Nets roster this season. Day'Ron looked great yesterday, 8 and 7, including a really nice and one in transition. Day'Ron seems to be a guy that can really transcend whatever role the Nets have for him and become almost something else, and that's really exciting. Noah Clowney as well. Put on a ton of weight this offseason. Had this sort of Nick Claxton build where he was a little scrawnier but a little taller. Has now totally filled out. Showed he could hit the three in stages last season. Those two guys, they're really going to show you what the center and big man position looks like for the Nets going forward. What they do with Claxton going forward. A lot happens, and a lot is shown by how those two guys play and how they use them as well.
It's interesting to see.
On the other side of the city, they have a similar problem between Mitchell Robinson and Cat. There just seems to be the big men. There isn't a solidified big man in either team in the city.
It's interesting to see. And before we move on to Knicks, Chris, just one more kind of
Tried to help you out.
One more quick question. Cam Thomas, obviously 1 more year and then free agent.
Yeah.
As a Nets fan, Nets beat reporter, what do you see the Nets doing with him there? Do you want him to come back after that, or do you think it's kind of his time to go and let these young rookies that you just drafted kind of take over?
The Cam situation is so interesting because I think you have to understand what happened this offseason. Cam wanted a certain amount, thought he was worth a certain amount, and the league, meaning every other team in the league that had a chance to give him a qualifying offer, and the Nets, didn't think he matched that value. And if the league doesn't think that's your value, then it's not your value. The league and the general consensus around the league is what creates market value for these players and the contracts they may have. He didn't get paid what he wanted to get paid this summer. It was disappointing. That is obvious. And I think a lot of the off-the-court things that don't have to do with his talent and, and how good he is at basketball, the biggest questions for Cam will be answered this season because this season means everything. This is how much he gets paid. His contract completely depends on how he plays this season. I think he knows that. I think that will affect his game in a major way. And just in general, that amount of disappointment coming off the summer, thinking it's the time when you get paid. You see guys like Josh Giddey getting paid in Chicago. You think you should be. You think you're a better player than him. I think Cam has a right to, even though I think it's a conversation. How does he play with that amount of disappointment in him? Does he let it start a fire under him, or does he let it take him down from an anxiety perspective? I think that is the turning point, not only for Cam this season and in terms of his contract situation, but his basketball career in general. I think this is kind of the make or break time for Cam Thomas. I think the Nets are happy to have him. I think they didn't want to pay him. If everybody is saying something is $2, Brendan, and we're all pointing at something and saying it's $2, then the thing says, the inanimate object says, I'm worth $5. Should we just pay it that because it says it's that, or should we pay it what the market value is? If no one's going to pay $3 for that thing, should we pay $5 for it because the thing wants us to, or should we pay $3 for it because that's how markets work and that's how economics work? Non-Gabelli right
you.
here.
Wow, I feel like I'm sitting in class
Not
right
I
Gabelli.
know.
Now, so my grander point is, I don't think the Nets made a move to have him in the building. I think it is sort of it's the default right now that Cam is in the building. But with that said, if Cam can be more productive, can help this Nets team win in a way he didn't last season, and really shows his value, I don't think the Nets have any problem re-signing this guy or having this guy a part of their future plans.
Gabby, we'll shift now. Thank you, Chris. Thank you,
Of course,
Professor.
I try.
And
Yeah, I learned a lot there.
we're gonna
Sure.
use your earlier transition.
Did you like the analogy?
Yeah, I mean, I've never taken an economics class, so
Me
it
either.
gets. Oh, shoot.
Hold on. You just
Shoot.
did that without ever taking an econ class?
No, but I know sports econ.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very
That-
good.
That's pretty impressive.
I'm in an econ class right now, and
I've
I'd
had a
say
few
that's pretty good.
conversations with Pat Cunningham. He knows ball.
Econ major.
Yes, his roommate.
My roommate is an econ major.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think he could describe it that well.
He shadows classes. He goes to them for fun. I haven't.
I know.
I haven't done that.
Yeah, there's
personally.
one finance class that he goes to for fun, just because he wants to take the
Is he
class,
okay?
but he wants to
Do
take
we
the
need to
class,
do a
but can't
wellness
because of his
check?
major. And he emailed the professor. He goes, "Hey, can I come and just sit in your classes?" And he's not getting any grade, but he does the homework, and he's
Wow.
I
It's a
know.
level of commitment I can respect.
Yeah, very much so. Wow.
I don't think I've ever wanted something that badly.
Cowboy Super Bowl.
well,
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I would never want to sit in class that badly.
Nah,
but
I'm not
there are things I
voluntarily.
want pretty badly.
I'm not gonna voluntarily take an extra class like that,
Me
especially
either.
No,
it's on a
no.
Thursday night too. mind
Oof.
you. It's
Oof.
it
Till
runs
9.
it runs
Nightmare
into
scenario.
it runs into Thursday night football.
Isn't it quantitative? Isn't it quant?
It's credit.
Oh, it's credit. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
Michael
what that
Gatto's
means.
class. Class talk. Okay, let's go.
Had to. Sorry.
Let's go talk about the Knicks.
Yeah. Gabby.
Yeah, let's do it. Got a stat for you guys. For
Okay.
this one from the back.
All right, let's hear it.
Every team that loses in the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA since 2022 goes to the finals next season. The Knicks lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we could if the stat continues.
The East is
Hey.
wide open.
Hey,
If I talk, I'm in big trouble. I'm in big trouble if I talk.
Go ahead, Chris.
No.
Go
I
ahead.
can't.
I'm
That
just
is so
saying,
coincidental.
That is
that has no merit. That is so.
I'm just saying. Listen, coincidence happen in sport.
Come
The-
on.
Trends
How many years?
happen.
How many years? Would you say? What was the first year?
2022. Since 2022. That's 3
So,
years.
Like,
Three
it's
years.
like kind of crazy, a little bit,
Do you think it's more crazy though if you say it like that?
with the inflection in my voice. Yeah.
No,
Surely,
I
surely.
wanted to ask you, Gabby. How many games have you covered, Knicks? How many singular games have you done?
0.
0.
This
so
is
you're
my first season.
so you're walking in blind. Similarly,
Walking by new coach, me and him coming in this together.
Chaz McAdams was our beat reporter last year. Owen Kelty returns on his throne for this season. Expectations going into this year for Knicks, not even necessarily for the team, but for doing the beat report of how everything will go at the Garden, and just your general kind of thoughts of how this team will look in the first month. I don't want how they'll look in the play, just how their first month goes, how they play with this new coach.
Even
Start with
after
the beat
watching-
report stuff.
Well, I'm very excited. First of all, I'm very excited to get to the Garden, be at my first game. I really can't wait. I've actually, I don't know, maybe this is a bad thing. I've actually never been to an NBA game, so
Wow.
I'm pumped
Holy moly!
that this will be my first experience.
Your first NBA game you got to professionally on your own accord. Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty good, right?
Pretty cool.
So
And
I'm
you'll
very
get-
excited to be
you'll
there. The
get
fact that it's
inside
a Knicks
access,
game
too.
too.
First
I'll
game.
be there. Yeah.
Okay. What's the biggest basketball game you've ever been to for, like a game in the Rose Hill Gym?
I went to the St. John's Fordham game at
Okay.
the Garden a
Okay.
couple years ago.
So you have seen it there.
Yeah. So
Fair.
I've been at MSG before.
You cover Rangers ever?
No.
Okay.
I've only done Liberty. I've only done
Okay,
Barclays.
Got
You're
it.
home.
Got it. The best arena in the city.
Calm
No.
down.
No.
Calm down.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys like to go up 7 flights
Wait,
of
actually,
escalators.
I
My
do-
bad. My bad. My bad.
I do want to talk Knicks, but Chris, I have a question for you, actually.
only
Barclays
fair.
unrelated.
Of course.
Do you think that now that the WNBA season has concluded, that the New York Liberty have more fans than the Brooklyn Nets?
Answer it, Chris.
Genuine question.
Answer it.
No. Just
That's
on
Wrong.
just on the 35 years they spent in New Jersey before Brooklyn and the fans that still exist in New Jersey matched with the 10 years of Brooklyn fans they've made. It would be hard for me to say the Liberty have more fans than them, especially like the parade looked great last year. If the Nets won a championship, I would like to assume there would have been more people there than at the Liberty parade last year. It was a depressing would probably be too strong of a word. It was a sad turnout last year. They should have had way more people.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I was just curious.
How did you want me to answer?
Well, I knew you were going to say Nets, but I just wanted to see your reaction.
Also,
to the
they've been
just had
question.
to put it
selling
out
out
there.
Barclays for playoff games for 15 years.
Who?
The Liberty just started doing that a year and a half ago.
Who's
The
been selling
Liberty,
out play?
I beat
who's-
reported a Liberty game on a Tuesday night in like June. It was
Yeah.
packed.
What other
It was
sports are
sold out.
going on?
Chris, who has been selling out playoff
Baseball?
games?
And so if you don't like baseball, that's the marquee sport happening in the sport calendar at that point. But
All
when
the
the
way-
Nets play, there's football, there's hockey, there's college basketball, there's college football. So you're telling
That's
me
not my
if the
question,
Nets
though.
played,
I'm
but
saying-
that's my
I'm
answer.
just saying in general.
I'm saying if the Nets played a
What-
WNBA schedule that time of the year, you're telling me the Liberty would still sell them from a
I'm
ticket
not
perspective.
talking about outselling. I'm talking very general. Just like you're right. Like Nets obviously have way more of a history than the Liberty do, but like right now, there's way more Liberty fans.
And you
than
know
there
what
are
you're
Nets
doing
fans.
because you're smiling. You know that they won last year. You know that we aren't that good. I don't like to kick someone when they're down, but I know everyone's morality is not mine, so I understand.
It was just a question.
And also, to answer your question from the net point of view, I think Joe Tsai and his wife really want to connect a lot of those fans. I think a lot of those net fans, they want to make Liberty fans and vice versa. I don't know if you saw the practice facility across the street now. You remember the Models used to be across from Barclays? That's now a fan interactive basketball
Yeah, it's
facility
awesome.
where it's Liberty and Nets. And I think in the same way they have their practice facility in Brooklyn, I think they're trying to have a lot of crossover because they can dominate that basketball market of fans for a full year if you have fans liking both. So I think
would
from
be
an
very
economic
smart.
perspective, they want both.
Oh, okay, thank you.
From an honesty perspective, it's the Nets.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think that's
Okay.
also if the Liberty were in the NBA and the Nets were in the WNBA, it might be different. If you know what I mean. Like I think one's
I
league.
don't
I
know
don't
what
know
you
necessarily
mean.
the Nets are more popular than the Liberty. Like I think that's giving too much credit to the Nets. I think it's like a league thing. Like the NBA
Yeah.
is just so much more popular than WNBA that regardless if the Liberty are the biggest team and the Nets are the smallest team, like it's just still too hard to compare. But yeah,
Hey,
can I ask you
fair
about
enough.
your Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now coming into this season, it feels like the Knicks have never had expectations this high. Definitely in my lifetime, I've never had expectations this high going into a season. I see on Bleacher Report almost every day they're like talking about trading Brunson. There's a lot going on in Knicks world right now, especially with Giannis hanging over them like a black cloud. Coming into this season, as I said before, first month, what does this Knicks team need to do in the first month with head coach Mike Brown in order for it to be a success
So
and have confidence going into the rest of the season?
I feel like in the past they've had either really, really good for I feel like the first month until January, honestly, in my perspective, for the Knicks,
Christmas.
I guess. Yeah, sure, Christmas.
That seems to be the point when people start
that's
caring.
when it's like, okay, that's when you kind of need to turn it on. I
Lock
still
in, yeah.
think these first couple weeks are, I mean, obviously it's the regular season, but I still think you're going to play them a little bit closer to how you were playing preseason. I think especially in terms for the Knicks, building your depth, something that they haven't focused on, especially last year. You have a coach who does not want to play all their starters 40 minutes, which is huge, personally. So I'm just curious how Mike Brown, and I'm curious to see how Mike Brown's philosophy will kind of manifest in the first couple of weeks. I think we've seen it in the first 3 preseason games. There was a lot more ball movement, which was great to see. And it felt like it went not just from your 5, 6, 7 starters, or your typical rotation, but I think it went down all the way to the people who are still deciding whether they're going to keep on the team, which was really good to see. You had Brunson giving dishes to the right corner. So for me, this first month, I think it's going to be interesting how they're able to move the ball, especially against some of maybe the tougher teams that they'll see. But yeah, I think just let alone like all the Giannis talk and trades.
What do you think, Giannis for Brunson? Straight up. Oh, it'd make me so happy because it would ruin their franchise.
You would have
It'd be great.
You would like throw a party.
It would be awesome, and I already hate Giannis, so there would be like it would almost be a centralizing of my dislike, and it would be like Bregman going to the Red Sox. It just makes everything so much more simple.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to see Giannis in New York, but I don't understand why would you give up Brunson after all this.
Biggest star of the last quarter century.
I
exactly.
absolutely would.
Would you actually?
What?
Ew.
Yeah, I would give. Well.
Ew.
My one
Ew.
caveat.
Also, 4 years ago, saying that to someone hilarious. Also, like the fact this conversation has changed a lot recently.
My one caveat here, is I don't think Giannis and Towns would be able to play together well, but neither do Brunson and Towns.
Yeah, they don't play well at all together.
They don't play. They don't play together. They play iso ball, both of them. They just take turns.
But to Gabby's point,
But
this
that's
Mike
what
Brown
I'm-
system, the ball movement might change that.
I hope
That's-
so
that's
for their
what-
sake.
It looked different already in these first couple games, and I know it's way too early. This is like way too early predictions, not even like early predictions, but it did look better. And then you didn't even have someone like Josh Hart playing; he's been out injured. So I think even once you see him back, and then Bridges or Anunoby, whoever, they're coming off the bench, or Hart coming off the bench. I think it's going to look different than last year. I genuinely do.
The depth seems to be the biggest improvement. It just seemed like they were 6 guys deep last year, maybe even 5. And this year with Clarkson and the additions and Kolek maybe taking that step.
You're going to have Clarkson maybe they're looking at.
The Frenchman, whatever his name is. What's the French guy's name?
You got me.
Chamet? Is that who you're talking about?
No, not Landry Shamet. I'm trying to think of... It's because me and Owen were talking about the Knicks are gonna have to make a decision with their roster. They're either gonna have to let go of Kolek or
Keep Kolek.
French lanky winger. What's his name?
Barbecue chicken. What does that mean? Look it up.
Pacome Dadier.
Oh, Dadier.
Yeah. So they have a decision to make. We'll kind of see what they do with that roster. It's a good problem to have after the sort of depth they had last year. It was a problem.
The depth was definitely a problem, and that's why we saw all the starters kind of tire out and in that Eastern Conference Finals. That's going to be all from us here, Knicks and Nets. When we come back from this break, Gabby's going to take over. She's going to lead us with some WNBA talk. The finals wrapped up last night, so stay tuned to hear about that after this break.
Hey, what's up? It's Owen Kelty, one of WFUV Sports' New York Knicks beat reporters. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks look to dominate the East and bring a championship back to New York. Keep up all season long on my X account at Owen Kelty for all the highs and lows of New York Knicks basketball. WFUV Sports is your home for all things Knicks.
And welcome back to One on One. We're keeping it here with some basketball, and this time we're talking about the women. The WNBA finals just wrapped up. Aces swept. They took it home. They beat the Phoenix Mercury 4 games in a row, something that you don't often see in finals. And as a W fan, was hoping for a little bit more of a competitive series.
A little more excitement between the teams.
Yeah. I mean, the games were competitive, but the Aces are just a powerhouse when it comes to the W. And not to say that Phoenix had a bad season by any means, but they just were not able to beat Asia Wilson when it came down to it in this series. Last night was the final game of the series, and playing without Sador Sabali, she went down hard on Wednesday with an injury. And when that happened, I was watching the game. Game 3 was a great game, probably the most competitive. But playing without Sador Sabali for Phoenix, it almost seemed impossible. And I don't love to say that, but Asia she's now a 4-time MVP. She's played 8 seasons in the league.
Ridiculous.
And 4 of them MVP.
That's insane.
Like, that's a crazy stat.
No, she is ridiculous. She is.
It's not even my favorite stat about her. We've talked about it.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, why don't you share it?
Asia Wilson.
Yeah.
She hit a game winner in a
A
finals of
shot also.
in a finals of a professional sporting league in America over a engaged couple.
I thought it was 2 engaged people. I thought they were both. I thought that was the stat.
Feels like what I just said.
Wait, what?
Feels like what I just said.
Wait,
Shot
am I
over an
missing
engaged
something here?
couple.
People. No.
I'm just gonna stop talking.
No,
Over
Brendan,
an engaged couple, and saying a couple who is engaged, you're saying is different.
They're the 2 people that she hit the game
Oh,
winner
they were engaged to
over.
each other?
They're engaged to
What
each
do you think I
Oh.
was saying?
I thought they were both
Like
individually engaged.
Oh, I mean, I guess that is weird too, but no, they're engaged to each other. That's what makes the
Okay.
stat. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That makes more sense
yeah.
now.
And 2.2 was on the clock, like her number.
That is.
Oh, I didn't pick up that. That's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, it was Nike was pushing it heavy. Nike's been
Right.
pretty, and we actually just talked about this with the men's team. Joe, and Tucker did interviews at Media Day with the men's Fordham team. A few of them were talking about the Asia ones, rocking the Asia ones. Nike was going really hard on the campaign. And they had the shot, her about to let it go, and the 2.2 above the clock. That's good stuff. She might be as marketable as obviously Caitlin seems to be her own marketing machine, but
Right.
Asia seems to be just as marketable as any figure there's been in the WNBA. She's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and again, like the MVP of the finals, of course, but it's really not just her on this team. I mean, she obviously has the veteran experience, the most marketability, hitting those big shots in clutch
For sure.
times. But she's playing with Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray, both who have a ton of experience in this league. And together, they just know how to play basketball on the court together. All effective on the court, but they just work together really well, which ultimately kind of came to the demise of Phoenix, especially once Alyssa Thomas wasn't playing very well. She missed a couple of clutch shots, and so that kind of this entire series, that was at least what I was looking at.
And Gabby, I have a question for
Yeah.
you. I watching the earlier installments of the playoffs this year, the Fever without Clark, they seemed to go on a run that was fun. There was even some other teams in the playoffs that maybe hadn't had as much success before that. We were having the conversation last year and in years prior of maybe a Heat versus Spurs, Heat versus Warriors sort of thing happening in the WNBA where these Aces and Liberty rosters kind of dominate over the rest of the league. Is that sort of fading away, and does it seem more competitive? And if not, how do they fix that?
I mean, mentioning the Liberty is interesting because their roster kind of fell apart this year.
Right. It does feel the stars
mostly
are still
in terms
there.
of injury. The
Yeah.
stars are still there, but all of them struggled with injury, I think, in a way. I think Asia was out maybe a little bit earlier this season,
Yeah.
and obviously was able to recover that. But, I mean, it kind of, unfortunately, a lot of the issues in the W, at least from my perspective, kind of go back to management of the league. And CBA discussions are a whole different issues that we're not going to get into. But I think you're looking at too many games being played in a short period of time. Rosters are not nearly big enough. If you have 3 injured players, it's a 12-person roster. If you have 3 injured
wow.
Yeah, I
players,
remember seeing.
then like you're
Jesus.
limiting your depth so much.
Was it Cameron Brink that said something about that?
Yeah, because she was out. She tore her ACL.
But I say she hasn't played.
Months ago, and so
Yeah.
she hasn't played. And so she's on the roster, but she can't play.
And because you did it to me, I'm going to do it to you, Gabby. Saw this on Twitter yesterday. Who's a bigger basketball star, Asia Wilson or Bam Adebayo? The answer
in terms of
the answer is Bam Adebayo.
in terms of what?
Yeah.
Basketball, just famous in the basketball.
Just straight hooping?
Which
In their respective
individual is
leagues.
known by more basketball fans in this country?
Well,
Oh.
objectively, there's more people who watch NBA than
But
WNBA.
she's like, for some people, she is the WNBA. You know what I mean? So even if you don't really know the WNBA, you might know Asia Wilson. I don't know if you could say that about Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, that's true.
There's more. You're saying the casual fans.
And for anyone listening who doesn't understand, they
But
are dating in real life. So that's my point in comparing them, is that they are very publicly in a relationship.
Right. So maybe in that case, especially if you know one, you might know the other if you follow them.
Bam might need a
closely.
ring, though.
Yeah, in Asia's 4
He's played in 2.
or 3.
Three is still nuts. In 8
3
years.
is nuts. 3
With
is
4
nuts. And where is
MVPs.
she now? And
In 3 and 4 years. Also.
Yeah,
and
insane.
with that run of 4 years, where is she now in the pantheon of WNBA greats, you think?
Oh, I think you have to consider her for one of the GOATs of WNBA postseason.
Better than Maya Moore? Thank you. That's the GOAT right there, Maya Moore.
I said one of them. If you want to go.
No, I
back
know,
to,
but that one feels interesting.
I mean, I think she. Listen, I'm trying to find my stats here, but the first 3 games she had over 30 points in each. She turns it on when it gets to postseason. Obviously, MVP of the finals once again.
I got some stats
And-
for you.
Go ahead.
Asia Wilson, going into Game 4, led all players in the playoffs in playoffs points per game this year, 26.5 points per game. That was over 4 more points per game than anyone else.
That's crazy.
Third in rebounds per game in these playoffs, 11.4. She led the league in blocks per game with 2.5, fifth in steals per game with 2.1. She does it all.
She does it all
and
on
she,
both ends
and
of the
she
court.
leads she is one of the top players at every aspect while doing it all.
Yeah. Yeah. She does it better than so many people in this league. It's kind of unbelievable. And I think you are looking at a Phoenix team who had a little bit of a depleted roster. I was trying to make the argument the other day on All In, a women's sports podcast. Shameless plug.
Shameless
That-
plug.
Shameless plug.
Go give it a listen.
That Alyssa Thomas kind of underperformed. I think in critical moments she didn't step up and show the veteran experience that she has.
What a rebuild from them as well.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
surely, yeah.
so quick.
Yeah.
So, it felt like they were a contender with one core, and then they were a contender with another core almost immediately.
Yeah. I think they kind of got lucky in their first round. They played the Liberty this year, and the Liberty, as I kind of alluded to, they were not good
Yeah.
at the end of the year. When you talk about a team that's disappointing, the Liberty was certainly one of those because they came into the season, and not to tie it back to the Knicks, I think when the Liberty coming off a championship, the expectations were so high, and then they just completely crumbled that. It's kind of I don't want to have that mindset.
No, yeah.
I don't want to have high expectations. Then if it goes bad, it feels like a jinx. So I'm keep them low, and if they do
Surpass,
really well,
then it's a good thing.
then it's wow,
Set the bar
we
low so
expected this.
that they can hit it.
Yeah. At least personally, but yeah, Alyssa Thomas, she in game 1, she missed 2 free throws at the very end of the game to give Phoenix a lead, potentially clinch game 1, and missed both.
Yeah, those are free points.
Free points. You can't miss
Can't
those.
give away free points.
Can't give away free points. And then she fouled out in game 2. She needs to guard Asia Wilson. So not having her on the court to guard her, again, kind of broke it down. There are other players who can do it, but just not as well as she can. She's a great defensive
She's the
player
focal
on that
point
end.
of the like their defense for Phoenix.
Yeah. Yesterday she had a good game. She had 17 points. But at the end of the day, the Phoenix core could not outperform the Aces core, and you saw that 4-0 series
100%.
that happened.
Is this Aces team considered a dynasty now?
Has to be
Yeah.
3 and 4 years. It feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to see that much change in the off season. Why would you? They like the coach.
Realistically, how many can this Aces team get like in the next, say, 10 years?
6.
6 more or
No,
6 total?
6
6 in total?
Yeah.
That's a good number.
It's like
feel
three
6
more in the next
would
10
be
years.
tough.
6 more would be great.
6 more would be
tough.
insane.
That'd be a hell of a run.
6 more would be insane.
Because also, no WNBA team has won back-to-back ever. It's
Mm.
been like back and forth.
That seems to be
Or
what everyone's
the
chasing
Aces.
right now. Because it seems like a lot of these
that's
teams
wrong.
in the last couple of years have had stake on being a really good WNBA team, but you are the best WNBA team if you go back-to-back. It hasn't happened yet. So,
Right.
yeah, and it's hard to do in any sport back-to-back. It's almost impossible. So,
It's hard to even win one, but going back to back is
Going back-to-back is
3 and
tough.
4 years too.
Yeah.
They're a
So-
dynasty.
I mean, we'll see what they'll do next year. It's hard even to talk about what roster moves or anything like that could look like, given that there's a pending CBA deadline that if players aren't going to get played, I'm curious if, they might not come back.
lockout.
Likely lockout. And then you also have 2 new teams coming next year. You saw the Valkyries have a great first season. They made the postseason.
shout out Paige. No,
Why?
Paige is on the wings.
Paige is on the wings.
my bad. Valkyries.
DTX.
Valkyries have the best logo in the league, I think.
Yeah, they're good.
Arguably.
Do you like their mascot? Have you seen their mascot?
I haven't.
Is it like an actual like Valkyrie?
Also, I like San Francisco as opposed to Dallas.
That is 100% a rage bait tactic right there. I'm not going to fall
I
for it.
looked at you, of course.
But you do have Paige, so
Yeah,
Yes,
I
we
did.
do.
Wings
Yes,
and
we do.
Valkyries got me tripped up, but yeah, it seems like Paige could be as big of a star as all those girls are. It seems
Oh,
like when
absolutely.
Caitlyn and Asia, she has the personality and the game to do it. I think.
oh yeah, she's bringing so many more eyes, and you're only going to see it. There's a great draft class coming in this year. Juju Watkins, you'll see her play in the W
Baller.
now.
Her and Jaden Daniels dating. What's up with that?
They're cousins, I thought.
Are they?
Yes. So I don't.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
You saw the handshake. Like I
Forbidden
saw
territory.
the handshake. I'm not. You had more information than I did. I'm not weird.
All the comments were saying they were cousins. They are
I saw
cousins.
comments saying they were dating.
I saw both actually.
I saw they're going under the BAM in Asia playbook. I saw that about 30 times on my timeline.
I don't even know.
Juju's great though.
We should
Baller.
probably wrap before we spread
Sure.
fake information here. I don't know
Chris.
what we're talking. Yeah, listen, unconfirmed. Don't listen to
Cousins or
anything.
dating.
Yeah.
Cousins or dating.
The new game.
Yeah.
That's for a different talk show, to be honest.
Yeah.
But on the other side of this break, we will be back with a little more general NBA.
Want to be part of the Ramley? It all starts here. I'm Nathan Rogers.
And I'm Kate Cox, and we are 2 of your hosts for On the Hill, WFUV's exclusive podcast for all things Fordham athletics.
From the field of Moglia Stadium to the hardwood of the historic Rose Hill Gym, we've got you covered with the ins and outs of Fordham sports.
Every week, every play, every round. Tune in weekly wherever you get your podcasts. This is On the Hill.
I'm Isabella Terracini.
And I'm Barrett Spreitzer. We're two of your hosts for College Gridiron, the exclusive home for all things college football on WFUV Sports.
Join us as we break down the biggest matchups of the week, Heisman hopefuls, and college football playoff previews.
Listen in on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Welcome back into One-on-One, New York's longest-running sports call-in show. Brendan Shorey here, alongside Chris Carrino and Gabby Price. We have our last segment of the day. Last chance to call in, too. 718-817-2750. I repeat, 718-817-2750. We were talking NBA, and there is at the end of the segment, a special draft that us three on air will do. But before we get to that, there is some news from around the league that we should cover. I want to start with, since I know it was mentioned earlier, LeBron, my GOAT shirt, and I know Chris is
our
GOAT. Chris is also obviously from that comment a big LeBron truther.
LeBron truther.
LeBron is the truth. LeBron is going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. He is going to miss the beginning of the season where they actually open against the Warriors. It's supposed to be LeBron versus Curry, the two aging vets that are still top players in this league that have been the story for the past 10 years probably. But he is going to be out. So I'll throw it to you first, Chris. But what does this injury mean for kind of him and his playing career, and what does it also mean for Luka and kind of taking the reins of the Lakers?
Well, I think it means he's not retiring. I think that's the first thing. I think he wants a clean season to end his career with. That's obvious. And I said this earlier, if it's media day and you don't know LeBron's retiring, he's not. You will know by then. This injury from a Luka perspective, it's interesting you bring that up. It's almost a joke at this point. Luka MVP year, Luka MVP year, Luka MVP
it's every
year.
That's every year.
This feels like the year. It feels like he's going to get a clean start where the offense is truly his. It's going to be a preview of what Laker basketball looks like for the next decade or so. And before LeBron comes in and takes away some of that attention, takes away some of that time with the ball, I guess you can say, Luka can really cement himself here in this first month. I mean, LeBron will only help a MVP campaign that is started off really hotly by Luka Doncic this season. And I think just in general, a lot of the Laker future and a lot of what Laker fans can come to expect will be seen in this first couple weeks. People should be really excited about JJ and Luka and sort of what they do.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, LeBron is 40, so realistically, like, injuries are going to be something if he keeps playing in this league.
A lot more prevalent.
Yeah, that you should almost expect at this point.
Didn't have one till 2019, I think.
Which is crazy.
14 years in the league
Insane.
without a real injury over like 2 weeks.
But at some point, like, the way he plays, the way this Laker team plays, like, it catches up to you, especially when you get on the older side, at least in the basketball world. So I don't know if it's that surprising. I think it's not a good thing, but having this maybe out of the way in the beginning of the season will help the rest of the season, and to your point, will kind of help Luka settle in, at least for his first full season here. So I think it'll be interesting to see, and then it'll be interesting to see how LeBron kind of comes back and works himself into this offense.
And obviously, big market LA. They always kind of find their way into whatever conversations people have about the NBA.
Or find their way into superstars randomly.
That too.
At the deadline.
That too. Enjoy Luka.
They will.
And I'll enjoy Cooper Flag.
Which one would you rather have right now?
Luka.
Yeah.
Cooper Flag's the future, though.
Would you rather have Flag and Kyrie or Luka?
And AD?
No.
Just Flag and Kyrie
Mhm.
versus Luka. Flag and Kyrie.
Delusional.
Nope. I'm very happy with him. What is kind of
He hasn't done anything.
Flag?
Yeah.
Not yet, but he will.
You do have the jersey. You're ready.
I already have Cooper Flag
Wow,
jersey.
He's
no
ready.
way.
I already have a Flag
Jersey night at Howl on the Moon the other night. I may
way.
or may not have walked into a pregame at Brendan Shorey's residence. May or may not have been wearing a Cooper Flag jersey. May or may
Wow.
not have made me really upset.
I love
Well,
that jersey.
that
All of
last
that
one,
alleged.
that last one, it's not even mayor. It did make you.
It did.
upset.
He
We
was
know
not
that.
happy
It
about
did.
know
It
that.
did.
We
My
love-
my
yeah,
Jaguar
that's-
jersey is still in
I'm with it.
transit.
Let me tell you, Chris loved the jersey itself, but would have rathered it say something else on the front.
Do you know the hoops you have to go through to get two German dots above letters on a Jaeger Joman jersey, Gabby Price?
I do not.
They are a lot of hoops to go through.
How complicated can it be?
It's not. I haven't done any research yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you could just go to like a t-shirt place and they'll print it on
was
for you.
gonna
I
say,
think Nolan
there's
Traore is
a lot
my
of online
jersey.
websites now that can probably do
Yes,
that for you.
but
But I bet just ask ChatGPT and I'll tell you where to go.
Ooh,
Tara-
yeah, that's true.
no one talks about this. The illegal jersey game, the tariffs may have hit that harder than anything.
The illegal jersey game was how I have most of my jerseys.
Tariffs hit the
I'm not-
illegal jersey
I
selling
don't know if I should be
industry.
putting that on
And
the
no
record.
one's talking about it.
No, yeah, thank you. No, that's what I mean.
I don't. How much of this can actually be on the record?
What was the last Luka? What was the last? I mean, we're not saying we've purchased. any
No,
of
we
these
haven't.
things.
We haven't purchased.
What
I
was
did not just I did not just claim I purchased from there.
What was the last besides the Luka Mav jersey you had? Was it Dirk? You only go for the big guys, or do you have a JJ Barea jersey?
No, I actually. God, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Growing up, I didn't have that many Mavs jerseys. Most of my jerseys were Cowboys. I think I had a Dirk jersey, and then
I had a Dirk jersey.
and then into Luka, and now Flag.
Any weird Cowboy jerseys? I'll go to you next, Gabby.
I have Jason Witten, Leighton Vander Esch, and I have a mesh like jet black with a blue star, like it pops. Sean Lee jersey.
Gabby, it pops.
It pops.
I feel like you got to see it to believe it.
No basketball jerseys for you. Basketball jerseys
No.
are tough.
I got one for you.
Whoa,
LeBron James High School.
I have that too, and Kobe High School,
I don't have that one.
and KD High School,
All right, chill on the high school jerseys.
and I don't. Do I have another high school? Shaquille, you have a Shaquem Griffin UCF jersey?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. That is my best jersey. Also Blake Griffin City Connect Nets, but that's a whole other. That's neither here nor there. I feel like basketball jerseys without the sleeves, and they tried to do the sleeves for a little bit. Without the sleeves, it's hard to do in everyday life.
You can do that on like
You know,
you can do that on a summer day when you're like going like
beach.
yeah, like if you're going somewhere like that's has water related, like if you're going out on like a lake or like you're going to the
If you're
pool.
on a boat.
Yeah, like on a boat you can pull off a basketball jersey.
100%.
In the winter, it's over a hoodie.
And now that the segment is fully hijacked, what is the best jersey in baseball, football, what's the best jersey out, like in public?
Like
Sport-wise.
specific?
No, sport-wise.
Sport-wise. Oh.
I think it's football, but hockey, it would be hockey if hockey wasn't so weather dependent.
Baseball isn't in there for you?
Man.
I do mess with baseball jerseys.
I do, but it's the same thing with basketball.
But I
It
won't wear a
feels
baseball
very
jersey out.
seasonal. Feels very seasonal, yeah.
It's also there's
I'd
so
wear a
many
football
games.
jersey out.
I would. Actually I do every game day since probably since high school at least. I wear a Cowboys jersey and my Cowboys hat
Both at the same time?
at the same time. And I rotate
Brought
my
them really
jerseys.
good luck the last couple of years, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
12 and 5.
Gabby, you
I
have
need to
do
switch
you,
something up.
do you own jerseys? I don't think I've ever seen you in a jersey. You don't own one jersey? Have you ever? What? You've never
Yeah,
owned a
isn't that
jersey?
crazy?
Is this seems
I
like
don't buy them for myself.
but this
I'm in on
seems like a conscious
merch.
decision you're making over time that you're not going to wear a jersey. I feel like you just stumble your way into a jersey after a while.
Stumble my way. No.
I don't know.
Because I didn't like my parents or like my dad doesn't collect jersey. Like it was just like the people around me growing up weren't necessarily doing that. So then I was never like kind of in on that game. And
Yeah.
then kind of here's the first time where I'm like, oh, damn, like I don't have any jerseys.
And
Maybe I should
also,
start locking in.
follow up, do you have disdain toward people who wear jerseys of players a lot younger than them? As in a Malik Neighbors jersey on a 60-year-old Italian man from New Jersey. Is there a problem with that?
This feels like a specific experience that you had.
Yes, it
but
does.
Maybe. Not specific. It's just a guy. It's an
No.
archetype of guy that I know.
Bro, at this point in our lives, half these players are younger than us.
That's what I'm saying. I have a Bronny jersey.
Yeah, wait,
He's younger than me.
Yeah, I don't think so because that's just the evolution of the game. No.
Okay. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of
But
people
I-
think if
at that
a
point-
certain age.
At that point,
it's
you got to
creepy.
stop wearing jerseys at like
as-
40.
Is that the
There's
age?
not a well. At that point, there's no players older than you.
Or you're
True. But you
wearing
could wear
someone
throwbacks.
who retired
Yeah, throwbacks.
10 years.
You got to You got to keep up with the team.
Mitchell and Ness.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep up with
Like
the
you got to
team.
show that you're a relevant fan of
Yeah.
the fan base, right?
That's what I'm saying. So if I bought you a Dion Cowboy jersey for your birthday, you
I would
wouldn't-
absolutely wear it.
That's what I'm saying.
I would wear both.
Okay.
You got to do both. Like 50 years from now, I would still wear my Jason Witten jersey, but I would also probably wear whoever the quarterback of the Cowboys is, like a jersey from him or any other player.
Get some variety.
Jerseys are great
Mix
this
up
year
the
for NBA. Nets got their koozie jersey back, which is fantastic as well. I'll bring it back to the NBA a little bit because
Okay.
I'm the one that off-tracked us. I would like to start the draft if that's cool.
Yeah, we can start the
You
draft.
could give snake
So-
draft.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a snake draft. Current players. It's not it's not super position specific. You can go 2 guards, 2 forwards, center. You could put 2 centers and run like a big lineup.
And around Christmas time, we would like to go back to these lineups, see what we missed, what we got right. We can kind of go through what order we pick people in. Because I'm even looking at a top 100 ranking from June, The Ringer did. Donovan Mitchell's ranked on here higher than Jalen Brunson. That seems wrong.
That is wrong.
That seems incorrect.
I have
So
the same website
I'm
pulled up.
curious if we have similar things in our draft. So can I start with the first pick?
Why do you get first pick?
Because I asked.
Can we do like a rock paper scissors for it? Like everyone in the middle. What are you opposed to doing it that way?
Sure.
All right.
Says shoot.
Rock paper scissors shoot.
Whoa. Fine.
That's
fine.
right.
I'll change.
That's the
Says
right
shoot.
Yeah, that is right.
That's
Says
the right
shoot.
way. No, says shoot is not the right way.
It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah.
You guys say shoot or says shoot back there? Says shoot. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Says
No,
Says-
Derek says just shoot.
shoot. No. Yeah. They're all out of their minds.
Thank
All right.
you.
Ready?
Rock,
paper,
paper, scissors, shoot.
And I win
Okay,
anyway.
Chris gets first pick.
Come on.
Wait, for second pick.
Oh,
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
let's go.
I'm inevitable. Are we picking in terms of organization starts tomorrow, or winning a championship in 2026?
How about
'Cause it's two different teams.
We want like a current team.
So you're
Like
trying to
one
win
that,
this
one,
year's
one that would
championship.
compete for this year's chip.
So fantasy draft league, all 3 of us have a team in the league, and we're all trying to win this year.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Okay.
win.
Yeah, we're 3 teams competing for a chip.
Okay, well, for the first pick, I take Nikola Jokic. For sure.
I'm not gonna be left
Thank
with
you, Dan.
anyone.
Okay, I got second pick.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
going
the
SGA.
second pick.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm crossing people off my list.
We haven't diverted from the rankings quite yet.
Let's go.
What? Wait. That's more.
3
like
is interesting. 3 is where it gets a little sticky. Those 2 seem to be the 2 best in the league, and it seems everyone else, there's some distance.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Luka,
Wow.
All right.
and I'm gonna take Giannis.
Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
who was your first pick?
Luka, and then Giannis.
So we're still in order here. That was the first 4 on the Ringers, top 100 as well. This is younger versus older, Gabby. You can go Steph here. You can go Edwards here. You can go Halliburton here. Are we counting injuries or are we not counting injuries?
Every player is healthy in this
Okay,
situation.
all right. Good to know.
Oh, so LeBron's your next pick.
No. I'm just saying
I think
Tatum
I'm
and
going
Halliburton are up
Jokic.
there. I went Jokic?
Yeah.
I took him first.
Oh, I missed that. My bad.
You thought he was hanging around at 5?
I would have snatched him.
I'm doing a trade.
Are you?
Just kidding.
Send you a first round pick for him right
I
now.
respected the moxie.
No, let me go Michael Porter Jr.
What? Did you mess that up?
No.
I'm confused.
I'm
You're
confident.
confident in that pick too.
Wait, what?
Your turn.
What do you mean? You took Michael Porter Jr.
Let me cook.
over Jalen Brunson?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
What's she cooking over there?
I don't know. I don't know what she's cooking in there. Do I go now?
Yeah, you're up.
Yeah.
All right, I'm scared, but I guess I'll go. Wow, I actually have to do it. That's so brutal. Nah, give me Steph. I'm not gonna do it.
Dang it.
Give me Steph. I'm not taking Brunson.
All right, you get 2.
Oh, I do. Ant.
Yeah, okay.
So Ant, Steph, and Jokic. I'm doing okay.
Gabby?
Yegor Joman or who's next?
Cam Thomas?
I feel like you said the wrong name.
She's building
and
the
then
net.
now you're just like you don't want to double back on it.
Taking Donovan Mitchell next.
Okay.
She took Michael Porter Jr. in the first round.
That was second round.
I'm gonna need
No, he
post
took
show.
SGA first round.
Yeah, that was second
I'm gonna need post show explanation on that Michael Porter Jr.
Okay, we're gonna have to go. We're running out of time, so we're gonna go quickly.
Quick
here.
fire here.
Quick fire here.
You get 2.
Give me. Give me. I'm going LeBron and KD right here.
Wow. Did you really leave Wembanyama for me?
Yes, I did.
I'll take the alien and Kevin Durant.
I just took him.
Oh, I meant Anthony Davis. You know that little kid behind the net bench yells his name.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. So now not only do I have 0 power forwards, I have 2. And my team rounds out. I'll let Gabby go after me. Wembanyama, Jokic, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards. That is not bad.
Gabby, who's
Not bad.
finishing your team?
Dylan Brooks.
See, I'm confused.
An enforcer.
Officially, I'm confused. Officially, I'm confused.
You're always confused.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Not like this.
I'm gonna go and grab Embiid.
Wow.
Embiid.
Yep, Embiid.
No
He's
one took.
getting injured first 5 minutes.
No one took Tatum.
No one took Tatum.
No.
Take Tatum and Mobley.
But we're fine in the West. We're fine in the West. I got my team rounded out. Luka, LeBron, KD, Giannis, and Embiid, and we're fine in the West.
All right.
Gabby, your team?
Finished, Abby?
My team: SGA, Ant, Donovan Mitchell, Dylan Brooks,
Oh, she
Michael
has
Porter
Ant.
Jr.
Yeah. And it was taken.
I'll switch. I'll
Oh,
switch
yeah, I
him
forgot to
out.
catch that.
I'll switch
My
him out
bad.
for Kawhi.
All right. Well, great draft. We'll check in a few months and see whose team is the best. But that is going to be it.
I
from
have a feeling
us.
it's Gabby's.
You think so?
Yeah.
Hey,
We
let me cook.
We'll see.
Let me cook.
That's going to be it from us here today on this edition of One on One. If you missed any of our segments from today's show, be sure to check out WFUV Sports YouTube page, and you will find everything you're looking for there and more. Guys, what a pleasure it was today. The sports director of WFUV is Bobby Chaffardini. Our video producer was Anthony Smith. Our radio producer was Derek Bollier. For Gabby Price and Chris Carrino, I'm Brendan Shorey saying thanks for tuning in. See y'all later. One on One is a production of WFUV Sports.